right, everyone, thank you for your patience. We're going to convene the annual town meeting. It being after 7 o'clock, and I'm being told that the quorum is still present. I would at this time ask the town clerk to read the return of the warrant.
In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby required and directed to notify everyone, the inhabitants of the town of Webster, Port said, who are qualified to vote in elections of town officers to meet in the Ballard High School Auditorium, 52 Lake Parkway, in said Webster on Monday, May 9th, 2016 at 7 p.m. That are there to act on the articles to it. Article 1.
Motion to second dispense with the reading of the articles. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The article passes.
Moderator.
Yes, Mr. Finnemore.
At this time, Mr. Moderator, I'd like to have all money articles in the warrant and the budget postponed to June 27, 6:30 p.m. here, because 3 new budgets were handed out this evening. The April 6th budget is no longer in existence. The May 23rd budget is no longer in existence. We now have 3 new June 6th budgets with 3 new figures on the bottom line. We went from 39,600,000 or 900 to 40 million. The sewer department went up, the water department went up 100, sewer department went up 150,000 in this. We haven't had time to look at this, and I don't think that people can make an informed decision properly.
All right.
When the budget comes out 20 minutes before the meeting. That's my motion.
Well, no, your point of order is a question. So if you're asking me that question, you can make the motion when the budget articles come up and ask town meeting what their wishes are on your motion to pass, to continue them on till that date.
We're starting the budget process now, Mr. Moderator.
Well, I haven't read Article 2 yet. So, all right.
Yes, I am.
All right. So, at this point in time, I'm going to ask the Vice Chairman of the Board of Selectmen to again lead us through the Pledge of Allegiance. So as I stated at the special, same rules apply. 5 minutes for the first speaker, 7 people, for, against, and questions. You need to use the mics. Please state your name and your address. At this time, I'm going to place a motion before you to allow all non-town department heads, town administrator, and town council to be able to address the meeting if they need to. All those in favor of allowing that, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. At this time, also, the town charter requires me to get approval of my deputy moderator at the annual May town meeting. Deputy moderator, again, would be Attorney David DuPont. I would ask you to please validate his appointment for the next year. All those in favor of appointing him as deputy moderator, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. All right. So, I need to read some stuff. You're going to have to bear with me. It's going to be a few minutes while I read this. But there have been, as you've seen on Facebook and seen in the paper, there's been some issues relative to the budgetary issues, postponing this meeting, etc. And I believe that you have the right to learn what I learned over the weekend and my diligence of doing all this. I'm going to read you the letter from Town Council, Copeland and Page, and then I'm going to read you my determinations on the issues as I saw them presented to me. It says, from Town Council, you have requested an opinion about whether Webster Annual's Town Meeting adjourned on Monday, May 9, 2016, to Monday, June 6, 2016, could lawfully proceed to vote on the proposed FY 2017 budget even if the Finance Committee has not complied with certain requirements of the Town of Webster's Charter, Section 6.5. That section requires that the Finance Committee conduct a public hearing on the proposed operating budget, review the budget in open meeting, and file a report containing its recommendations at least 7 days before town meeting acts on the proposed budget. On April 7, 2016, the Finance Committee, Board of Selectmen, and School Committee held a joint meeting to discuss the proposed budget, after which the Finance Committee voted to approve the budget. On May 5, 2016, the Finance Committee posted a public hearing for that budget but failed to post an agenda. The Office of the Attorney General gave the opinion that the budget hearing could proceed, but no other topics could be discussed. On May 24, 2016, the Finance Committee held a meeting in which it rescinded its earlier approval of the proposed budget and then proceeded to review the budget line by line for 4 hours. The Finance Committee posted another meeting to review the budget on June 2, 2016. Obviously, however, it will not have its report and recommendations filed 7 days prior to the planned June 6, 2016 annual town meeting as set forth in the Town of Webster Charter, Section 6.5C. You have asked whether in these circumstances, annual town meeting may act upon the proposed FY17 budget on June 6, 2016. In my opinion, and for the reasons more fully stated below, Webster's June 6, 2016 annual town meeting may lawfully act on the proposed budget. Town of Webster Charter, Section 6.5C states as follows. Action by town meeting. The Finance Committee shall file a report containing its recommendations for action on the proposed operating budget, which report shall be available at least 7 days before the date on which the town meeting acts on the proposed budget. Copies of the report of the Finance Committee shall be available for distribution to any person requesting same at the office of the town clerk, the office of the Board of Selectmen, at the public library, and at the police station. In Kiss versus the Board of Appeals of Long Meadow, 371 Mass 147, 1976. The Long Meadow Board of Appeals adopted rules as directed by a statute, conducting a hearing in accordance with statutory guidelines. It did not file its rules with the town clerk as required by a provision in the General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 18, which stated, quote, the Board of Appeals shall file a copy of such rules in the office of the city or town clerk. In upholding a decision of the Board, the Supreme Judicial Court stated that the use of the word shall was directory, not mandatory. Quote, where it relates only to the time of performance of the duty by a public officer and does not go to the essence of the thing to be done, it is only a regulation for the orderly and convenient conduct of public business and not a condition precedent to the validity of the act done. Citing Cheney versus Coughlin and Kiss versus the Board of from the Kiss versus Board of Appeals of Long Meadow. Says, see also Cullen versus Building Inspector of North Attleboro. 90-day requirement for filing a board's decision was directory, not mandatory, as it did not go to the essence of the thing to be done. The same result was reached in Berwick versus Zoning Board of Appeals of Worcester, Mass Appeals Court 739, 1974, where the board not only failed to decide the case within the time required by state statute, but also failed to adopt rules and file its decision. In general, the word shall has been interpreted as not mandating the action referred to where failure to comply with the directive has no express penalty or other consequence for noncompliance, and where there is no harm caused to the rights of any individual by failure to comply. In the case of the Town of Webster Charter, Section 6.5C, and Webster Bylaw, Section 110-5, there is no expressly stated penalty or consequence for the failure to file a Finance Committee report, and no express prohibition of town meeting action absent such filing. It is therefore my opinion that failure on the part of the Finance Committee to comply with the provisions of the Charter, Section 6.5, or of a bylaw, Section 110-5, will not deprive town meeting of the power to act on the proposed FY17 budget on June 6, 2016. This opinion is further supported by the fact that the Finance Committee's past failure to file its budget report and recommendations have never before been raised by the Finance Committee or anyone else as a part of town meeting action on a proposed budget. Very truly yours, William Hewitt. Now, this is my letter that I compiled. A complaint has been filed. I've broken the complaint into 3 issues that are therefore presented to me for consideration. 1, was the town meeting properly called? 2, is action upon the budget proper if an alleged incomplete budget was provided to the Finance Committee and not in compliance with the Town Charter, Section 262 through 65? 3, can the town meeting act upon articles without the Finance Committee's recommendations, regardless of the reason for lack of a recommendation? I would like to state that I believe this is truly democracy in action. It is the division of powers and the checks and balances between powers that the Founding Fathers intended. It is the right of any citizen to question the actions of their government, and in this instance, the town meeting. I believe this type of question of authority encourages transparency, instills confidence in the town meeting process, and ensures the integrity of your elected officials. Finance committees are the financial watchdogs of every city and town. These committees are entrusted with the task of questioning town officials and department heads relative to financial articles in order to provide town meeting with information that may otherwise not be made available to the town meeting participant. And I thank them for their service. Prior to making my determinations, I have consulted with town council, the Massachusetts Attorney General's office, Massachusetts case law, and town meeting time. The Webster Home Rule, Charter, and bylaws vest the creation of the town budget to the town administrator, Charter Section 42H. The Finance Committee has the powers and duties prescribed to it by bylaw and Mass General Law, Charter Section 3-9B. The controlling bylaws are 110-3, the powers and duties of the Finance Committee, and 110-5, the reporting of the Finance Committee. The controlling state law is Mass General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 16. The budget process is outlined in the Charter Section 6.2 through 6.5. Bylaw 110-3 states, the Finance Committee shall consider matters relating to the appropriation, the borrowing, and the expenditure of money by the town, its indebtedness, the methods of administration of its various offices and departments, and may make recommendations to the town or to any town board, office, or committee relative to such matters. Said committee shall have free access to all pertinent information in possession of any town board, officer, or committee. Bylaw 110-5 states in part, the Finance Committee may confer with them, department boards, offices, and committees, and hold hearings if deemed advisable. The section goes on to state that the Finance Committee shall make a report of all matters considered by it. Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 10, requires that the town meeting be called pursuant to a warrant and that no article shall be acted upon unless it is included in the warrant. The Board of Selectmen are empowered to call a town meeting and shall include articles in the warrant, the subject of which action shall be considered by the town meeting. The Board of Selectmen did call a town meeting for May 9, 2016 pursuant to a warrant which was published and returned as required by law. The items included in this warrant included the FY17 budget and other budget-related articles. Issues have been raised relative to the ability to act upon the budget articles in the warrant as a result of an alleged incomplete budget being provided by the town of the Finance Committee and the Finance Committee's failure to properly post a public meeting on the budget pursuant to the state's open meeting law. First, was a town meeting properly called? It is my determination that the town meeting was called in accordance with the town charter and Mass General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 10. The warrant was properly posted and returned, so the town meeting was properly called. Second, is action upon the budget proper if an incomplete budget was provided to the Finance Committee prior to its public hearing and not in compliance with the town charter 6.2 through 6.5? The limited case law available on such an issue indicates that action by the town meeting is proper. In two cases, both of which, while not controlling, are directly involve the school committee. The Massachusetts Appeals Court and the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court both ruled in favor of town meeting acting on the budget. In Illig versus Town of Plymouth, 337 Mass 239, 1957, the state Supreme Judicial Court stated the failure of the school committee to provide the Finance Committee with its budget at any time prior to town meeting was not a bar to action by the town meeting. The court stated, quote, the town budget is in effect only the compiled recommendations of the committee for the proper information of the inhabitants and has no legislative force. The first act with such force in towns is a vote at town meeting, unquote. The pressure, quote, the pressure of time on the Finance Committee is immaterial, unquote. In addition, in Anderson versus the Town of Randolph, 8 Mass Appeals Court 901, 1979, the school committee informed the Finance Committee that an appropriation would be needed for special education, but did not provide a figure for said appropriation. 4 days prior to the town meeting, the school committee provided the Finance Committee with the amount necessary for special education. The court ruled that the committee's delay neither frustrate nor impede public scrutiny of its actions. Based upon the above two cases, it is my determination that the alleged failure of the town to provide the Finance Committee with a complete budget at a date prior to town meeting does not bar action by town meeting on said budget. The Finance Committee could have elected to make no recommendation, to pass over for more information, or some other recommendation to inform the town meeting why they could not act on the budget, rather than to fail to make any recommendation at all. Third, can the town meeting act upon articles without the Finance Committee's recommendation, regardless of the reasons for the lack of a recommendation? Again, I have looked at case law to guide my determination on this issue. In Young versus the Town of Westport, 302 Mass 597, 1939, The Finance Committee did not consider an article relative to raising funds for a proposed building and therefore made no report to the town meeting. Westport's bylaw stated, quote, whenever the warrant for any town meeting contains an article or articles under which an appropriation or expenditure of monies or the disposal of any property of the town may be made, the Finance Committee shall consider said articles after giving one or more public hearings thereon and shall report its recommendations to the town meeting, unquote. These two bylaws, Webster's and Westport's, are similar. Both state that the Finance Committee, quote, shall consider articles. Westport states it, quote, shall report its recommendations, and Webster's charter states the Finance Committee, quote, shall file a report, and the Webster bylaw 110-5 states the Finance Committee, quote, may make recommendations. In the Westport case, the state Supreme Judicial Court stated the purpose of the bylaw was to enable the citizens to ascertain the nature of and the necessity for the contemplated expenditure of the funds of the town, to secure the aid and assistance of a report of a committee which had studied and investigated the matter, and so permit him to vote intelligently when the article comes before the town meeting. The report of the committee would also tend to prevent hasty and ill-advised action upon the part of the voter. The committee, however, acted only in an advisory capacity. The citizens are not required to accept its report or adopt its recommendations. They could entirely ignore the report or heed such parts as merited their respect and consideration. In participating in the town meeting, they were not restricted or limited by the conduct of the committee. Furthermore, the matter of the consideration were prompted before the meeting by virtue of the warrant, and the failure of the committee through inadvertence or inability to hold a public hearing did not prevent the voters from deciding articles contained in the warrant. The instant bylaw in form and substance was directly to the Finance Committee and was not mandatory upon the town. The omission of a public hearing by the Finance Committee did not invalidate the action taken at town meeting. Finally, in the case of Sinclair versus the Mayor of Fall River, 198 Mass 248, 1908, the state Supreme Judicial Court considered the situation where the mayor objected to a city ordinance passed by the city council that required, before expenditure of monies, expenses shall be recommended by a finance committee for being approved by the city council. The court found that the city could impose such a restriction, but not without discretion. The Supreme Court stated, quote, it would be strange if the city could not by ordinance impose any check upon them. Nor does it follow that the city council would be deprived of their power to act upon such a question by the mere inaction of a finance committee. The ordinance prescribes a course of procedure which we cannot declare to be invalid, but because it is a mere matter of formal procedure, the city council in any special case may waive or abrogate its provision. The wording is used in the Webster Charter and the bylaws would apply to judicial interpretations utilized by the Supreme Judicial Court and the Massachusetts Appeals Court, does not mandate action by the Finance Committee as a prerequisite to action by town meeting. Based upon the above cases, it is my determination the town meeting can act upon articles without the Finance Committee's recommendations, regardless of the reason for a lack of recommendation. So, in summation, 1, the town meeting was properly called pursuant to a legal warrant. 2, the alleged failure of the town to provide the Finance Committee with a complete budget at a date prior to town meeting does not bar action by town meeting on said budget. And 3, the town meeting can act upon articles without the Finance Committee's recommendations. Thank you for taking the time to listen to that.
Mr. Moderator, may I make a point of information?
Yes, Mr. Mandiel, go ahead.
This issue of the timeliness of the information we've given goes much beyond the Finance Committee because the voters have not been given proper information. Under Section 6.3 of the Charter, there's been several violations. We have not been provided with the required budget message required under 6.3. We have not been provided with the reasons for major variations in the current budget. We have not been provided with the estimated surplus revenue for the current fiscal year, and we have not been given the amount of the free cash for the prior fiscal year. The budget is not arranged to show the actual and estimated income and expenditures for the previous, current, and ensuing fiscal years. In other words, 2015, 16, and 17 together. All of these are required by the Charter, and they're required for the voters to make informed decisions on the budget.
Thank you. Again, while it's in there, it is not mandatory, it's directory, based upon the case law and the opinion of town council. It is also it's not a bar for town meeting to act. Town meeting can choose to postpone the budget articles to a later date. That's town meeting's option. They don't have to move on those articles tonight. If somebody makes a motion when those articles come up, they can do that. But it does not bar town meeting. The fact that wasn't done does not bar action by town meeting if it so chooses to act tonight. And I hope that's clear to everybody, because I struggled with that all weekend long. It is not a bar to act. The town meeting can choose to act on the articles. They can choose also not to act on the articles. But that decision is left up to you as basically the legislature of the town. The informed residents of town can make that decision whether they want to or do not want to act on the budget articles. Okay.
Moderator.
Yes.
I want to thank you for your time over the weekend. I want to thank you for all the effort you put into it. But I have one comment. The budgets that we're going to act on tonight were only printed and given tonight to the board and to the people. No one saw them prior than tonight, than the town, interim town administrator. Whatever this board and whatever this floor does is they're in control for that 1 second per year, and I'd applaud them, and I would ask them to postpone it to 27th so that you got a week and a half to go over the budget at home. Now you have the budget. Discussions can be made on the budget, and the Finance Committee cannot, as a committee, make any recommendations tonight. Any recommendations by the Finance Committee will be strictly as a citizen and not as a committee member, because we took no votes, because we had no information, and as we sit here tonight, we still have no information.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. And again, when those articles come up, you can definitely make your motion to...
Again, my motion would be...
When we get there, you're premature again. Hold on.
Mr. Moderator?
All right. So, yes, ma'am.
May I just make a quick comment?
Yes, ma'am.
All of the information that was handed out this evening, the budgets, were available on Thursday evening when I met with the Finance Committee. One of their agenda items was the FY17 budget. I had all that information with me and was prohibited from discussing that information with the Finance Committee on Thursday evening. They did not allow me to bring that before the committee and to discuss it.
If you have something to say, go to the mic. You can make that statement.
Through the chair?
Yes.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sir.
The meeting we had last Thursday was televised live in downtown Webster. People saw what we did as a committee, Finance Committee, it was a Finance Committee meeting. The interim town administrator chose to attend that meeting, and we discussed a lot of issues. We discussed the budget per se, and at that time, the budget was under $40 million. If you only look at the second page, which is the revenues of your budgets, if you will, the municipal budgets, what do you see there today? It's over $40 million. Adjustments and additions have been made to the budget. The Finance Committee has not had a chance to look at them. It was not explained to them. There were adjustments from made since last Thursday. Anyway, and the fact remains that if there were adjustments made, etc., then no matter whether we had a public hearing or not, we had an incomplete budget. And in the last regard, I think our meeting was getting a little too lengthy, and therefore, some parties decided that was going to be it for the evening and left the Finance Committee meeting. Probably premature because we still had something to discuss. Thank you.
Sir, go ahead. You'll be the last speaker on this issue until we get to the budget items and the actual warrant.
Bob West, Mountain Drive. Just a quick question as far as when was this June 2nd budget posted and made available to the public?
On the website,
Whenever?
the town meeting handouts were posted first thing this morning on the website.
This morning. So we're expected to make an informed decision on a $40 million budget that was posted less than 24 hours ago.
And again, there are only a handful, 4 exactly, changes from the April 7th budget. That's it. There are only four changes to the budget.
It's still suspect as far as why this information, all of it, complete, was not made available. So, thank you.
And actually, Mr. Whitelaw, you've had this information since Friday morning.
I realize that we met face to face. However, I did have it from Friday morning. I didn't open up the package today until I understood there was a new budget, that what you handed me on Friday was in fact a revised budget. Thank you for that. I wish you'd made a point at that meeting that you had told me this is the revised budget. I would have had the weekend to look it over.
All right, we're going to move on at this point. I will tell you that, ma'am, if you just sit down for a second, he was the last speaker. As soon as we get to these budget articles, you can do that. We're going to take some stuff out of order briefly because I want to try to get the Boy Scouts out of here that are here for an article relative to them, Article 10. So we're going to do Article 1, we're going to jump to Article 10, we're going to dismiss them, get them out of here because it's a school night, and then we're going to take up the rest of our budget and the rest of our articles in the warrant. So Article 1, the hearing and act upon the report and recommendations of the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to approve the article as read.
I have a motion and a second to approve the article as read. Any discussion?
Moderator, no. Make a motion to pass over.
I have a motion to pass over. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion to pass over Article 1? Okay, hearing no discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion to pass over Article 1, please raise your cards. They've made a motion to pass over Article 1 and to not address it. That was done by some of the members sitting up here at the Finance Committee table. So there was no discussion, no one stood up to discuss it, but it was seconded. So the question is, is the wish of town meeting to not address Article 1? That's what we're voting on right now. Do they wish to pass it over? Or do they wish to address it, which would be a no vote? A yes vote would be to pass it over and not address it at all tonight. A no vote would be to continue on to the article and address the article. So all those in favor of passing over the article, please raise your card. Counters, please count. Okay, all those opposed, please raise your card. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. All right, all those opposed, please raise your card. Put your cards down, thank you. I'm sorry, what's your number? 37. The motion to pass over fails 84 to 21. We're now back to the original article, which is to hear and act upon the report and recommendations of the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee. We had a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any further discussion, I should say. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. There's 8 against, it's a majority vote. The motion, the article passes. Okay, now we're going to jump to Article 10. And I ask the Deputy Moderator to come up and preside over Articles 10 and Article 3.
to see if the town will vote to designate the second Sunday in August as National Scouting Day in honor of the first Eagle Scout in America, Arthur Eldred, who obtained the rank of Eagle Scout on August 21st, 1912. In honor of this day, the town of Webster will provide active Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts with current membership cards free access to Webster Memorial Beach on the designated National Scouting Day.
A motion to amend the article. I'd like to include the words after membership cards, to include the words "or in uniform," and then continue on with it because at the time that it was drafted, was not aware that Girl Scouts did not get membership cards. So it would say, in honor of this day, Town of Webster will provide active Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts with current membership cards or in uniform, free access to the Webster Memorial Beach on the designated National Scouting Day.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion on the amendment?
I would make a motion for amendments to amend it, it allows the carload of people to get in, not just the individual.
Please go to the microphone and identify yourself.
I'd like to make an amendment that does apply not just to the individual, but if the individual's in a car with their parents or whoever, that the carload gets the free admission, not just the individual.
Sir, and all amendments need to be submitted in writing. Can you please write down your amendment and please give it to the clerk?
Sure.
And we can take action on it.
You want that right now?
Yes, sir. Is there any further discussion on the amended amendment?
Point of order, Timothy Bell, 28 Union Point Road. Why does this gentleman have to write down his amendment, but the moderator didn't have to write down his amendment? Doesn't sound like you're keeping the same rules.
They both will. Ms. Parisi?
Moderator, just a question, no problem with this. But now, we go from designating it the National Scouting Day in honor of whatever. Now, the gentleman asks that a carload, I don't know if that's the proper term, a car full of scouts. Now, would this be Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts from this area, the county, the state? What does it cover? Just for clarification.
If I could clarify that, it would be for any scout, any Boy Scout or Girl Scout anywhere. I mean, if you're not there, I know that my son did a Eagle project down there, renovated the track and stuff for the cross-country team. Other Eagle Scouts have done other things. There's been a lot of work done down there. The Boy Scouts also come and assist me at all the town meetings doing the counting, and you can see by the presence here. You know, I think it's important to them. I recuse myself as the moderator because I put it in, but I think it's important that it doesn't matter where they're from, that they be able to get in for that one day.
One last question. One last question. What if that vehicle is an out-of-town vehicle and has a boat attached to that vehicle and it's stuck?
I refer that question to the sponsor.
You set the fees for the beach.
Want me to speak or does town council want to speak? I'm willing to let you speak, Mr. Hewitt, if you'd like, if you stood up for that. But the purpose of the article is not to allow the boats in. It's to allow the scouts in there. Obviously, town meeting wished to do that, but that was not my intent when I wrote the article for the Boy Scouts.
The amendment to the amendment was that the free entry to Memorial Beach will not be limited to just the individual, but all people in the vehicle. Is there any further discussion on the amendment to the amendment?
Where are we with this article?
Well, where we are is that Mr. Ralph made an amendment to the article, and we are now voting on whether to allow a vehicle in the amendment to add this language that I just read.
Okay, what I would like to do is, since everything is pretty much unclear here in writing, is that we accept the first part of the article, which designates a day for the Scouts, and pass that and omit the second paragraph.
We would get to that once we act on the amendment.
Okay.
Just to be clear, what we're talking about right now is to allow the amendment that if a scout is in a vehicle, to allow everyone in the vehicle into Memorial Beach without a charge on that day.
I'd just like to make a note that that's the only way we charge for admission anyway. We don't charge by the individual unless they're walking into the beach. We only charge by the carload. So by default, if a scout is riding in the car and we let him in free of charge to everybody else, he wouldn't be getting in free at that point. We charge by the carload.
Any other discussion on the amendment to the amendment? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor to the amendment of the amendment, please raise their cards. All those opposed? It's a unanimous vote. The amendment passes. The amendment to the amendment passes. Now back to the original amendment. Now to the original amendment, which will read that in honor of the day, we provide active Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts with current membership cards or in uniform, free access to Webster Memorial Beach on the designated National Scout Day. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed? Seeing none opposed, it's a unanimous vote. vote that we must now take on this is to accept the article in its completion as amended and amended. The article will read, to see if the town will vote to designate the second Sunday as National Scouting Day in honor of the first Eagle Scout in America, Arthur Eldridge, who obtained the rank of Eagle Scout on August 21st, 1912. In honor of this day, the town of Webster will provide active Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts with current membership cards or in uniform free access to Memorial Beach on the designated National Scouting Day, and that the free entry to Memorial Beach will not be limited to just the individual, but all the people in any vehicle, in the vehicle containing the scout. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. Seeing none opposed, it's a unanimous vote. We'd like to thank the Scouts for attending tonight. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to Article 2, to see if the town will vote to fix the compensation of elected officials, provide for a reserve fund, and determine what sum of money the town will raise and appropriate, including appropriations from any available funds, to defray the charges and expenses of the town, including debt and interest for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016, and ending June 30th, 2017, or take any action thereon.
Mr. Moderator, I move that this article be brought up on June 27th, 6:30 here at the auditorium.
Mr. Fillmore, that's not a problem. I've been informed by town council that that's not a proper motion.
Move the article to June 27th. Why is it improper?
If you want to pass over the article, because there is no June 27th meeting, Mr.
I
Finnemore,
want to make it June 27th.
but you haven't made it yet, sir. So you haven't made it yet, sir. And town meeting is not decided to convene on June 27th, so it's out of order to move an article to that date before town meeting has assigned that date. There are other motions you could make, but not that one, sir.
Mr. Moderator, I make a motion prior to this to ask the people of the town meeting to move that article and all money articles to June 27, 6:30 p.m. here in this auditorium, to allow everyone the opportunity to review the budget received tonight.
There's been a motion made and seconded to move the budget article to the date, and all other money articles to the date of the movement. June 27th at 6:30. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? The purpose, at the recommendation of town council, I'd like to explain that this motion is being handled as a motion to adjourn all money articles until June 27th of 2016, and the budget article. Well, It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Please identify yourself for the record.
Bob Whitelock, since that was so special to receive a budget last Friday, and really didn't realize it until this afternoon, I really haven't had time to look it over. And so I would support the recommendation to move it.
Any further discussion?
Timothy Bell, 28 Union Point Road. I do think that the town should let the Finance Committee have the time to do their job and do it properly. If the budget was just finalized this morning, I think it is in all of our best interest to wait to see what the recommendations of the Finance Committee are.
Again, just to be clear, this information was available last Thursday when I met with the Finance Committee. However, they did not allow me to present it.
Mr. Moderator, clarification. The intercounty.
Please take the microphone, Mr. Bell.
I go home when I'm ready. You want to get up and ask me personally in private?
Mr. Finnewan, please take the microphone.
Take a mic. Take a mic, I'll take 6 of them. Ladies and gentlemen, it is rude to act like that person there. God bless him, he has a voice, let him take it outside. The motion, the interim town administrator chose not to sit with the finance board, to get up and walk out of the meeting prior to us adjourning the meeting. We had no option after she got up and walked out. There were 2 of her bosses at the meeting that could have told her to sit down, wait a couple of seconds, let everything cool down and continue the meeting, and they didn't and she didn't.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes. Please identify yourself. for the record.
Diane Mandiel, School Street. I have looked over the budget. Ms. Ledoux is correct, there are only several minor changes. My actual question is, when was the original budget published? Was it published on April 7th? And was it available at the police department, town clerk's office, public library, and online at that time?
It was posted on the town's website only. There were
So it
not
was
hard
not-
copies available.
So there was not a budget available for general consumption in the places that it is normally published. Is that true?
Normally published, that is not the case. In my tenure here in Webster, there have never been copies available at any of those locations that you've mentioned.
How is somebody who does not have internet access supposed to access the budget before they come to the town meeting? At the town meeting in May, I asked at that time why a budget was not brought, and you told us it was because you weren't going to be acting on the budget, and I suggested at that time that it was unreasonable that people were not given a copy of the budget to look at. And there are lots of people in this town that would not even know that they should go online and print out their own personal copy of the budget.
And they would also not know that they would be available at the public library or the police station or the town hall. If someone had walked into any of the offices, the town accountant's office, my office, or the town administrator's office, or the board of selectmen's office, that would have been provided to them.
That's not the case. Vita Krisiak from Irene Ave. Yes, some of us actually do know where to go to get these and when we can't get them, which seems to be a continual problem, not only this year, but other years where these budgets aren't available until the morning before. So, yeah, I think we're getting a little song and dance a lot of times here. So, yeah, I would absolutely vote to override this whole thing.
Just let me be clear that, again, the budget has only minor changes to it, as Ms. Mandiel indicated, from the April 7th version. Prior to that, a budget was available, a draft 1 was available to the Finance Committee back in March. And to my recollection, this is the earliest that a draft budget that you weren't told to line your bird cages with was available. It was a true budget. There were changes made to it. Then on April 7th, when the committees met, school department, the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee, that's when draft 2 was given, and that's the budget we've been working off of. That is the budget, other than a few minor changes. This budget has been available. Any questions? Any questions would have been answered. Again, I was at the Finance Committee meeting. I sat with them on May 24th for 4 hours, went over line by line, answered any questions they had, and also members of the public were in attendance, answered their questions.
Mr. Becker?
I'm Randy Becker, Vice Chairman of the Selectmen. I wrote down 3 joint meetings. These are 3 public meetings that occurred April 27th, May 5th, and May 24th. I would like to comment on Mr. Fittermore. I was at the meeting, and I realized that our acting town administrator was at a meeting the previous week for 4 hours with the Finance Committee. The meeting that supposedly our acting town administrator left, she was chased away. I have never seen a meeting like that. I would encourage everyone in this audience to view that video on tape. It was an embarrassment. In particular, there were 2 Finance Committee members that criticized, attacked, berated. It was an embarrassment. And I hope that never happens again.
Mr. Moderator, Debbie Keefe from 3rd Street, Webster. I think one of the ways we can resolve this issue this evening and not postpone is, in the past, we've always done voting by personnel and expense subtotals. If there's that much concern about specific line items, we could do a line item budget vote this evening and go line by line. So if anyone has a question on a specific line, they can stop and ask the question. That would resolve having to go to June 27th, and what I'm hearing, very little has changed since the April budget was released. So we probably won't have any real questions. You could list them all and then vote by the personnel subtotal if nobody has a question, and then you could list all the expenses and vote by the expense subtotal if no one has a question, and we could actually get through this budget tonight.
Ms. Keefe, right now, we're just dealing with the motion.
Then my recommendation is to continue tonight, and I'll make the motion to do these, to handle it in a different manner once we vote on this one.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir. Please identify yourself once again for the record.
Hello, my name is David Harrelson. I live on Upper Gore Road. The question I have is, you've said minor adjustments to the budget. It seems like it's about $400,000 is worth of adjustments. Is that true? Based on what Mr. Fenimore's been saying, going from 39.6 to over 40? Or, yeah.
No, sir. The difference is a net of, I apologize. $36,221.
So 1%.
$220. That's the difference.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Marisa, go ahead. This will be our final speaker.
Motion to move the question.
Is a motion made to move the question, a motion made and seconded.
Moderator, I asked,
At this point, we're going to cut off discussion.
you recognize me before that was asked.
However, there was a motion made to move the question, Mr. Marisa, I wanted to give that motion precedence.
Could the person stand who made the motion, please?
Absolutely, I make a motion with the question. What is the motion?
Motion to move the question and cut off debate and vote now on whether or not the town meeting should be continued. So at this point, I would like all those in favor of continuing the town meeting to June 27th, please, with all money articles and the budget, please raise your cards. Counters, please count. Now, all those not in favor of continuing the town meeting and continuing on to the budget and the money articles this evening, please raise your cards. Counters, once again, please count. How many? 45. The motion to continue the town meeting regarding the budget and monetary articles is defeated, 45 to 81. So now on to the budget.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $40,493,665, an amount sufficient to fix the compensation of elected officials, provide for a reserve fund, and to defray the charges and expenses of the town, including debt and interest for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30th, 2017. Said sum to be raised as follows. Transfer from the Waterway Improvement Fund, $17,000. Property tax and other revenues, $40,476,665.
There's a motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? No. Ms. Parisic?
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Ray, 6976 Blue Street. First item I want to address is the budget increase is $1,780,862, 4.6% increase. The amount from April 7th budget to the budget you see tonight, there's a difference of $496,398. Further want to clarify and give you information, which you should know, that the budget in different departments constitutes 5 new full-time positions. And the salaries that you see do not include benefits. Now, the $1,780,862, if that's approved, what's going to be your tax impact? The moderator could ask the town administrator if she could give us that figure.
When you're complete, Mr. Parisic, once you have completed list of questions, do you have more than one? No. Ms. Ledoux? Yeah, are you finished, Mr. Parisic?
I just asked a question because I don't have.
Yeah, can you complete your remarks and then we'll have Ms. Ledoux take the microphone to answer your questions?
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, I've had the opportunity to work in municipal government for many years. with budgets. And seeing that I'm going to pay additional taxes in this town on the $1.78 billion increase in the budget, let me give you what the impact's going to be. I calculated it, and it's correct. If you approve the entire budget the way it is, per se, 1.780862, the tax impact's going to be $1.06 per $1,000 of valuation. What does that mean? If your assessed value is $200,000, the taxes are going up $212. Somebody will say, well, you know, you get quarterly, so divide that by 4, the impact's a little, not so much. $500,000, you're going to pay $530. And $1 million, I guess I'm addressing around a lake now, that's only tongue in cheek, over $1,000 if this is passed as read and presented. Now, this is supposed to be given to you, not by me, but I've done this in the past, and that's what all the other town meetings and other towns give this information to the people in the audience. Now, you want to know how yours is going to impact? You got a pen, pencil? Write this down. 0.00106. Go home, get your tax bill, get your total assessed value, and multiply it by this number. And if this budget is adopted as presented, then you'll know your exact amount of tax increase for 2017. Remember, this does not include water and sewer. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator?
Ms. Ledoux?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I believe Mr. Berezic answered his own question, and that was after several emails back and forth, probably a dozen in one day between Mr. Berezic and myself. Unfortunately, the first few times he had the decimal in the wrong place, so we just have to discuss that.
Mr. Moderator, if I want to make
Please identify yourself.
Ken Landiel, School Street, if I want to make an amendment to the budget, can I make it for a specific line? Is that how it's to be done?
Yes, it's got to be made by line.
Okay. So I have a series of suggestions, motions. I'd like to deal with them one by one. Some of you have this information. I did have a handout, but I did not have enough for everyone. What was that? Okay. I'll read what I'll tell you what it is. First, I would like to talk about.
Yeah, if you could take a minute, because we're going to go through each of the departmental totals.
Oh, we are.
And then you can.
Okay, I'll wait till the total.
And yell out hold for the ones that you have questions on. Ms. Ledoux is going to read, just so the town meeting understands, Ms. Ledoux and what we ordinarily do here in Webster is that the town manager will read each of the departmental totals, and if someone has a question or wishes to make an amendment, they can yell out hold. Once we've completed the budget, we can then go back and deal with the line items which are questioned.
I pick up a point of information. If any of these motions pass, we will have cash available to spend elsewhere, so can we reopen other lines if somebody wants to spend the money that we save?
Yes, town, well, you can't, I'm going to refer your question to town council.
If you have a question about potentially changing or discussing any of Ms. Ledoux' department head totals, you should put a hold on it. If there's no hold on it, the town meeting will not go back to that line item. That's the procedure we followed for years. And that's just so everybody understands.
Mr. Moderator, Deputy
Yes.
Chief, Third Street. Since there's so much discussion about holding, and I know it's going to take us a little bit longer, I would make the motion that we go line by line this evening instead of by subtotals, just so that if someone does want to put a hold, it'll be a lot easier than people jumping down. Some of these budgets are very long. And if we're only reading the subtotals, people might not have the time to review each line. We can quickly read line by line, and if there's no hold, no one has to, we don't have to stop. But I would, since there's so much dissension this evening about how the budget was released and how we did it, I'd make that in the form of a motion that we do line by line this evening, instead of just subtotals.
There's a motion made, is there a second? There's a motion made and seconded that we go through the budget line by line. Is there any discussion as to that motion?
I do have a question. Because perhaps going line by line may be more difficult. One thing I would ask, and maybe it's in conjunction with this if this passes, but there appears to be a lot of changes in the different budgets from one year to the next, or what was proposed. I'd like to know, and I know we don't usually do this, but I think it might be helpful for everyone, since there's been a lot of discussion about not having the budget, but trying to understand what's happening. If Mrs. Ledoux would go through each department and maybe, instead of just reading the line and going down the line, just to talk a little bit about the rationale for the changes. Otherwise, looking here, I have questions about why line items have disappeared, why new ones have appeared, so that might be just helpful.
Well, there's currently a motion that's been made and seconded to go line by line through the entire budget. I would like to limit the discussion to that particular issue. Going line by line, we're not going line by line. And is there any further discussion as to that?
I'd recommend that we not go line by line, because I'll put a hold on every line, because I'll be forced to. I think if we can just do the department totals, and then when I have a motion to make, I'll explain what line it is that I think can be changed. Otherwise, I'll have to put a hold on every line, if that's the procedure.
Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Moderator, what this gentleman is saying, he has rewritten the budget. He wants to put a hold on every line. So we've already heard from the Finance Committee that they're upset because they haven't seen the budget. We can't be taking handouts from somebody like this and just handing them out to certain individuals of what the budget's going to be.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Moderator. Mr. Moderator, it is the duty and obligation of everybody sitting here to take this budget seriously. And if Mr. Mandel is taking the budget seriously, he should not be belittled for it.
Any further discussion regarding the motion? This is the motion's been made and seconded to go line item by line item throughout the entire budget. All those in favor, please raise your cards. Counters, please count. All those against Going line item by line item, please raise your cards. The motion to go line by line fails, 98 to 9. Mrs. Ledoux?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd just like to preface this process with a couple of comments to the residents and taxpayers of this community. This is the town administrator's budget. However, this is not put together in a vacuum. I don't make these decisions alone. This budget was put together with the assistance of the team that you see here, the department heads, and I just hope that you're aware that even though we may differ on opinion on certain things, you may disagree with the reasons why we've funded some things and not funded other things this year. Please know that this team is in agreement with this budget and that we are here to do what is best, we feel, for you and to provide the services to you the best that we can day to day. So please, just keep that in mind as I go through this budget. Town moderator, $444. Board of
The
Selectmen,
town manager has the acting town manager has the floor. If you have a question regarding a line item, please yell out hold.
No, this is a point of order about the entire procedure here. I'm sorry to be rude, my name is Margaret Chan, I'm the 15 William Street Extension. Oh, actually, it's Margaret Lawrence Gold, I got married, but I haven't got my marriage license yet. And the reason that I'm asking is, I see that some people are getting very impatient and a lot of people are leaving, and I'm concerned that we may not have a quorum by the time we start voting on these things. And I have a lot of things going on in my life, as does everyone here. So is somebody keeping the track of how many people are here so that the whole thing won't be void at the end of the process? Okay. I don't come that often, I just want to make sure. What's that?
Are you asking for a quorum?
No, I'm asking, is someone keeping a track of those individuals that are leaving to make sure that we have a quorum at any given time when the vote is being taken?
Ma'am, what you're asking for is a quorum count.
Yes. Okay, then yes, I am.
Can all those please raise your cards so that you may be counted? Can counters please count? Ma'am, there's still a quorum here. We need 61 for a quorum.
Okay, I thank you for your patience. I am new to coming to the town meetings, but as we want and are soliciting actively many people to come to the town meeting, I think that if somebody asks a question like that, this gentleman just took 5 seconds to explain to me how that works, and I was all set. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Ms. Ledoux?
Board of Selectmen, $165,144.
Oh,
Town Administrator, $328,044.
oh,
Finance Committee, $3,000.
Moderator, point of order. If we vote
just the bottom line, then the budget can be juggled from the first line of that department all the way through personnel and expenses. We've never done this before. We always vote the budget by subtotals. And I would like to make a motion that we continue to vote by subtotals, not by bottom line dollar on the budget.
Second.
There's a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on the,
Mr. Moderator, up until 2000, we always voted line items. We changed that in 2000. So the people that are new to the process should know that for 100 years, this town voted line items. If they want to go back to voting line items, that's a prerogative of the town.
Mr. Finnemore, right now we're talking about going by subtotal. Ms. Reese?
Ms. Keefe is correct. We need to go by subtotal, personnel as it would be, and expenses. Because in that, say the personnel subtotal, that money can be moved any which way in any of the line items within that subtotal. So I would wholeheartedly endorse Ms. Keefe's, and I second it, that we do it by subtotal of personnel and subtotal by expense, not grand total by department.
Pam, can you please explain?
Sure. And we do that, Ms. Keefe. You are absolutely correct. And that has been the process for a long time, as far as I can remember. However, when we go down and read, we do read by department. However, it is understood that this budget is being adopted by subtotal. Personnel, expenses, capital, bottom line. That is the way we have always done it. And that is how we handle our transfers, interdepartmental transfers. The town administrator is not allowed to transfer between personnel and expenses. That requires a town meeting vote. However, the town administrator is allowed to transfer within personnel and the individual line items. So that is the understanding. That is absolutely correct.
Moderator, I want to thank Ms. Ledoux for acknowledging what I just said. Thank you.
Ms. Keefe, will you withdraw your motion because that is what we're doing?
You're doing line items.
Mr. Moderator, I've been involved in town government for, well, not in the last couple of years, but like 18 years before this. And I may be incorrect, but when we have had the town administrator list the departments, they always listed personnel and then expense total with a total. So they broke it down. If we're going to do one bottom line item, then it needs to be in however the article's written, that it is going to be allowed to be maintained by subtotals, because if we vote just that bottom line, when I've been in finance and everything in the town, you vote one number, then the department heads have the authority to move around. Now, maybe something in the law changed, but we vote one number, then they have the right to move within that total budget. Where we vote subtotals, they only have the right to move within the subtotal amounts. And that's why I'm just clarifying, because if Ms. Ledoux's correct, we're fine. I've just never seen it done this way in 20 years. So I just wanted to make sure if she's correct in how she's explaining it, I don't care. I'll refer to Mr. Bell. He does audits for town, so I'll let you.
Yes, Mr. Moderator, I'd like to ask Town Council a question. I have audited municipalities, many municipalities in this Commonwealth of Massachusetts. In my 25 years of experience talking with various town administration officials, it is how you vote. So if you're voting a town administrator budget total as opposed to subtotal for personnel and subtotal for expenses, I've been informed several times that it would be how you vote. So I asked if you would please ask town council for something official.
I refer your question to town council.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, through you. I'm not quite sure I understand the question, but here at least is my understanding of the procedure that's being proposed. And maybe we're talking about the same thing, or maybe we're not. Ms. Ledoux is identifying department head accounts as she goes through the budget. So
No,
for
she's-
example,
no,
she said town moderator, she said board of selectmen, town administrator, all right? If
Correct.
within that budget, within the items that are encompassed by those department head numbers, if someone wants to hold on any of the line items within there, that person may say hold. Now, that's my understanding of how we were doing that. Is that correct, Pam?
Correct,
All
and
right.
in the adoption of the budget is as presented in this voting document by subtotal.
Correct. So if there's no hold, it is assumed that that amount is accepted by town meeting. You're going on to the next item and to discuss the hold items. After we are done with the hold items, and there may be amendments or changes, then the entire budget is voted. That is how I've experienced it in this town and many others as well. So that's the best, I think, that I can do to answer your questions.
I guess my question then is, if the budget is voted at the department level, can someone then move money between personnel and the expenses? Because at other communities, I've seen it done. So that's why I'm asking the question specifically. What is voted normally would be the personnel and then the expenses within that, each department.
And Mr. Bell, just to clarify, we vote the budget as that omnibus motion that I made. That's the actual vote of the budget, pursuant to the voting document, which you have in your hand, in the understanding being that this voting document and the budget is adopted as presented in the voting document by subtotal by department. And that is the way that we handle our accounting practices also. And we have ever since I've been here.
And that's fine. I'm asking what is legal, not what the town does. So that's why I'm asking, because I've seen it, if you don't vote the subtotals, my understanding is you don't have to follow the subtotals.
Through you, Mr. Moderator, again, in response to the question from the floor, in our town meeting here, and in all the ones I have presided over, when town meeting is given a budget with all of these numbers on it, that is what town meeting is voting. And department heads are not free to interchange or to amend or to move individual line items around within the department, even though the bottom line total might remain the same. So, now correct me if I'm wrong, Pam, that's how we've always done it here. When you see your budget here, folks, these are the numbers you're voting on, not just the bottom line one, but all the ones in here as well. I think that is your question. Is that correct, sir?
Close enough.
Try it, Mr. Moderator.
The acting town administrator has the floor.
Okay.
Please continue.
Finance Committee, $3,785.
Hold.
Did I hear hold?
Hold.
Reserve Fund, $25,000.
Hold.
Town Accountant, $185,916. Assessors, $204,831.
Hold.
Town Treasurer, $163,621.
Hold.
Town Collector, $187,373.
Hold.
Town Council, $100,000.
Hold.
Personnel Board, $5,000.
Hold.
Data Processing, $162,730.
Hold.
Town Clerk, $118,520. Elections and registration, $32,702.
Hold.
Code enforcement, $102,798. Community development, $1,200.
Hold.
Town office building, $94,968.
Hold.
Town report, $4,200.
Hold.
Police department, $2,910,924. SWEP,
Penny, please.
$400,641.
Hold.
Fire department, $682,905.
Hold.
Inspectional services, $128,951.
Hold.
Sealer of weights and measures, $4,500.
Hold.
Animal control, $24,186. Parking clerk, $5,658.
Hold.
Harbor master, $17,000.
Hold.
School town, $3,012,044.
Hold.
Department of Public Works, $1,246,689.
Hold.
Engineering, $0. Health Department, $81,798.
Hold.
Senior Center, $153,853.
Hold.
Marble House, $8,903. Veteran Services, $382,852. Soldiers Memorial, $0. Soldiers and Sailors Graves, $0. Library, $325,922.
Hold.
Parks and Recreation, $5,000. Special events, $3,500. Debt principal, $1,391,096. Debt interest, $892,346. Contributory retirement assessment, $2,984,089. Insurances, $4,735,289. Court judgment, $0.
The person who put a hold on town moderator, discussion? So then, I guess on to the selectmen then.
The only thing on the town moderator, the other assistant town moderator, there's nothing in there. I know why the town moderator can't receive salary. There's no reason why you don't get salary. Why?
I do not know. I refuse this.
Thank you. That's what I'm asking.
The total for the Board of Selectmen?
There's a hold put on that?
It was. There's a hold called out.
I'm going to bring it under town administrator.
So there's no hold on
No.
Board of Selectmen?
Total town administrator?
Town administrator, wanted to discuss the situation with executive secretaries. It's my understanding now that the Board of Selectmen's executive secretary is for now filling in as the, well, let me make a motion first. I guess that's what I should do. Should I make a motion first?
You have the floor, sir.
Okay. So the point I wanted to make was, last year we raised the executive secretary's salary. It was a very, very large increase. Currently, for both the Board of Selectmen and the Town Administrator 53,203. But one person is doing both jobs for now, from what I understand. A new person will probably be hired when we get a full-time town administrator. You can see that the budget for the secretary is increasing from roughly $42,000 to $53,000. We'll be hiring a new person who will come in without the experience that the current person has and will be earning the same amount of money. And so my motion is to reduce the budget for the town administrator's executive salary from the $53,203 down to the $41,290. If you need that as the subtotal, I can give you the personnel subtotal. 920.
Are there any other changes?
Under that, no. So
Under town administrator?
no.
There's a motion on the floor to reduce the executive secretary's...
Just a minute. Let me look at this again. Okay, yes, I do have another change. Salary reserve, it was budgeted at $0 last year. It's now budgeted at $100,000. The explanation that I've heard for that is that is for potential salary increases for non-union personnel. Last year, the town meeting voted to give automatic pay increases to all non-union personnel. Those increases should be in the budget already for their salaries. This is leaving $100,000 at the discretion of the town administrator. I'm proposing that number be reduced from $100,000 to $20,000.
Mr. Moderator, for purposes of discussion,
It-
I'll
it-
second
it's-
the motion.
Is there a second on the motion?
For
Any
purposes
further
of
discussion?
Second the motion. All right. Mr. Moderator, I'd like to ask a question. On the $41,000 that you're asking, I think that's still a little too high because if we do get a new town administrator, it wouldn't be before October or November. We'll be over 6 months into the present year, and the new town administrator, whoever he or she may be, will want to bring their own person in and then ask for a salary, and we have an October meeting. If it's made, we have a new town administrator by the October meeting, and we can adjust the salary. If we don't, I think a 50% or $25,000 or $30,000 would be more than sufficient for that particular line item.
Mr.
Is
Moderator?
there further discussion?
Yes, sir. A few comments, I guess. First of all, the Board of Selectmen's confidential secretary is just that. She's the Board of Selectmen's confidential secretary. And it is true that she and I are handling the day-to-day duties, which include confidential secretary duties of the town administrator. It's not working well. It's extremely difficult. I, as the interim town administrator, do things that a town administrator or another manager may delegate. Many do delegate. I do myself. I write my own correspondence, my own memos. Other town administrators don't do that. I have been handling human resource issues along with the assistance of the Board of Selectmen's confidential secretary. That's not for a town administrator to do. It's not. But someone has to do it. This position has been vacant since last July. It has been vacant because the Board of Selectmen, rightfully so, have wanted it to remain vacant until a new town administrator is seated. No one thought it was going to take this long, so that that person could choose someone of their own choosing, if you will. So it wasn't a hire that I was doing, because that is that person's right hand. The salary, the issue with the salary is, I would recommend that this person have a different skill set. Each of the confidential secretaries in town have a different skill set. The Board of Selectmen's secretary, the police chief's secretary, and the town administrator's secretary. This individual, I would hope to have significant human resource skill set. We don't do very well with that. We don't have a human resource department. It falls on the shoulders of benefits administration in the treasurer's office, and actual human resources, FMLA, things like that, handling of insurance claims, all of that go through the town administrator's office. With regard to the $100,000, couple of corrections. That is not to fund non-union pay increases. That is to fund union and non-union pay increases. There has not been a cost of living increase granted to the management employees, non-union employees. This would be the 4th year. They have gotten nothing by way of a COLA. This $100,000, I just finalized memorandums of agreement with our police union, our DPW union, and our clerical union, and I bargained those in good faith. That is what this money is for, to pay for those bargained increases. In addition to some type of increase, as a bylaw that was adopted by this town meeting requires for the non-union staff. They are required to receive at least the average of what the other collective bargaining units get. If this $100,000 is gone, then I am subject, and the town is subject, to litigation with our collective bargaining agreements, because as I said, I bargained those agreements in good faith.
Order. When the previous town administrator left, the selectmen, in their infinite wisdom, decided to appoint an interim from inside. Historically, we've never done that. We've had an interim come in, keep the ship afloat, come to town meeting, say we're keeping the ship afloat. The new person, he or she who's coming in, will then have a learning curve, and then they can decide if it's October town meeting, there's sufficient time, then they come to do it. But in my opinion, let me just back up a little. The $41,920 that was approved last June, and Ms. Ledoux says she does this, that. Why didn't we hire an executive secretary this fiscal year?
I believe she already explained that.
I thought I did.
Well then now you're asking for a 27% increase for a person coming in with certain qualities or qualifications, which in turn would be the same as the executive secretary for the selectmen, 53,203. And also, I believe if you look at the sewer budget, the administrative assistant who's been there for 30 years is at 53,203. Where's the parity? That's what I want to know. Why not let the next town administrator figure out what he or she wants to pay that personal secretary?
Mr. Moderator?
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Parisi.
I think Mr. Barisic brings up a good point in that positions are being filled and created while we have an interim. These are decisions that should be made by a permanent town administrator, including probably hiring his or her own executive secretary. And so if we fund this now, they'll be free to hire an executive secretary, and the new town administrator will not get to choose their own executive secretary. And it doesn't seem right to leave that person out of the process.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mandiel, I thought I explained that is in fact the case. This position will remain unfilled until a town administrator is seated. Yes, sir.
And we don't, Mr. Moderator, we don't need the money there.
Yeah, so I'd like to leave my motion as is. So my motion is to reduce the executive secretary to $41,920 to match last year's salary, and to reduce the salary reserve. I believe that we can do what we've done in the past and come back in the fall and fund the contractual obligations. If there were changes coming up, perhaps those should have been included into the budget already.
With regard to that, Mr. Mandiel, the timing of that, the unions came to me, as they should, in January with the collective bargaining agreements expiring June 30th, 2016. They came to me and said, let's start this process so that the town of Webster can get on the right track with our employees, rather than making them wait for 4 years in the case of our police union for retroactive pay increases, because they work for this community without a collective bargaining agreement. Our commitment, and I'm saying our commitment because it was mine along with the union employees, to get this done in a timely fashion so that these agreements would be in place July 1st. The reasoning for that $100,000 being there is because it's not finalized yet. Not finalized yet, so I needed a funding source. Again, if we wait till October, these individuals who also bargained in good faith are going to have to wait for their money once again. That affects the morale of these employees.
I 100% agree.
Mr. Mandiel, any questions that you have for me?
Okay, Mr. Moderator, I'd like to ask Ms. Ledoux what the increases negotiated will be. If you know what they are now, can you tell us? And what's the effect on the budget?
I cannot tell you at this point because those agreements have not been approved by both the Board of Selectmen and those bodies. The only body that has adopted their memorandum of agreement is the police, to a 20-4 vote. Their body agreed. However, the Board of Selectmen have not approved that memorandum of agreement yet, so I cannot make it public.
Okay, one more question. What we voted on last year to give the non-union and elected officials an automatic pay increase based on the negotiated contracts, I believe that's how it works. Why are those numbers not in the budget if we've already approved it?
Because I didn't know what those increases were going to be, sir. These contracts start July 1st.
Mr. Becker?
Mark Becker, 156 Thompson Road. I'm not speaking as a assessor by any means. I'm speaking as a concerned citizen. Town administrators come and go. I'm happy to say we've gone through more than a handful or two in the last 12 or 15 years. Interims are interim. If people here don't realize, Pam Ledoux has been the backbone of the town of Webster. The backbone of the town of Webster's financial department and team. The front person and the back door person handling all the numbers for all of our past town administrators. If someone questions her ability, shame on you. You haven't been around watching or haven't been paying attention. And I'm speaking as myself. I'm not speaking for my other people who actually get a paycheck or who care and work every single day here in town. some people don't realize how far our community has come in the eyes of the DOR, in the eyes of the state, in the eyes of other communities in our area. Good conversation and good discussion is always a point to be had. But to question the makeup of certain things, where were you every day? You know, everybody start going forward. To nitpick these dimes and nickels at this point, it's disheartening for me. Every single person on this side has more respect for Pam than any other person in this room. Any town administrator that's followed on. Sometimes I can sit there when I'm not a little cranky or upset as I am today. I can name them all. And there's more than 2 handfuls. All I'm going to say is the time for the future starts now. Let's get together with today and let's move Webster on. And let's play with the pennies and the nickels and all of everyone's opinions and ideas when a time is better to be had. Thank you.
Yeah, and further discussion, you'll be our last speaker before we vote on the proposed amendment.
Yes, I'm Frank Sansom, Ernest Street. Just a question for Pam. She's the one that said we need the $100,000 reserve for negotiated increases. And I know this is somewhat out of order, but when I look ahead to the police department, it looks like the salaries are up $120,000, which is about 8%, and the regular overtime is up 33%. Is that negotiated increases, or is that routine? Because there's no explanation, so it looks like a significant increase.
I apologize. I do attach, Mr. Sampson, to the back of the budget. There is a personnel breakdown there in detail.
Okay, so just roughly, why a nearly 8% increase there, 30% in 33% in overtime? And because on top of that, we're going to do the negotiated raises.
Sir, any questions have to come through me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
The overtime budget is actually a reallocation of funds. There used to be desk coverage overtime, I believe, and we added that to the regular overtime because the police officers no longer provide desk coverage overtime. And the police department, unfortunately, every year runs short in their overtime line items. So that was a reallocation of resources.
Now I'd like to move for a vote on the proposed amendment to cut the executive secretary salary from $53,203 to $41,920 and reduce the salary reserve line item from $100,000 to $20,000. All those in favor of making those reductions, please raise your card. Counters, please count. All those not in favor, please raise your cards. How many was the last one? 50? The motion is, the motion for an amendment fails. 82 to 27. There's a motion for a recount. Is there a second?
Motion and second.
Yeah, 7 people in favor of a recount, please stand. The motion for a recount fails. There's a hold on the Finance Committee. Moderator. Ms. Parisi, did you place the hold on the Finance Committee?
Yes. Question I have is, the secretary is considered as a stipend. Is the secretary going to be considered with the non-union, through the moderator to the town administrator? Is the secretary, in this case here, or any other secretary that may be in the same type of a position, is that going to be included in the increase of the non-union personnel negotiation?
Yes.
Any further discussion regarding the hold on the Finance Committee? On to the next line item, the total reserve fund, 25,000. There's a hold placed on that.
Yeah, move the hold.
The hold is removed. The total town accountant, there was a hold. But the person who's making the hold can please speak.
I have a question on, but actually I had it on the.
Did you have the hold?
I did not have the hold. Does that mean that if someone said hold and I didn't say a second hold, that there's not a hold?
No, if there was any, if a hold was yelled out, then we were going to come back to it, and that's what we're doing right now.
Right.
So
I'd like to talk about this line, this department.
So you want to talk about the hold? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to understand your process. If somebody yells hold, anyone can get up and speak on that. We didn't have to have 6 people yell hold for you to come find out.
Correct. I just wanted to find out who had placed the hold originally in an attempt to move on. Yeah. I'm being informed by town council to start with the person who started with the hold, so that the question can be brought forward, and then we can have the discussion.
I did the hold on 90% of these. I did the hold.
And the reasoning for the hold?
The reason for the hold is to question the amounts.
Go ahead.
In looking at this budget, as well as the town administrator, you didn't ask for any other questions after that motion was taken care of. I'm noticing that the salaries for the non-union are reduced. They're not level funded and moved forward, so I'm just curious of why your non-union department heads, such as your collector, your town administrator, your town accountant here, have reductions in their annual salaries.
They're actually not reductions. The way municipal government budgeting happens is we budget from July 1st to June 30th, exactly. Fiscal year 16 had 52.4, if you will, weeks budgeted. Fiscal 17 is scheduled for 52.2. So it's not a decrease in salary, it's a decrease in the amount budgeted because it's one less day in fiscal 17 as there was in fiscal 16.
Any further discussion regarding the town accountant? Pam, can you please address the questioning of the numbers on the town accountant? Mr. Finnemore, what was your question?
He didn't have a specific question. Mr. Finnemore just placed a hold on the departments. I'm
Didn't
not
talk
speaking
about,
for Mr.
no
Finnemore.
specific, just
So that-
speak about any money items in that anybody wants to bring up. I put a hold on 90% of the budget so that anybody that wants to talk about any item in that particular line or in that the block can speak about it.
All right,
If
so we
I
all,
want to speak it, I will speak about
we
it.
all set on town accountant?
I know that yours is contractual.
Yes. On the total assessors.
Moderator? Mike with the hold.
Good.
In the 1972 detailed state report, Mr. Moderator, that's not needed. I'm addressing the audience the way I'm supposed to and appropriately. Please ask the others to just bite their tongue for the moment. Yeah, you, sir. You.
Mr. Parisi, can you please just talk about your issues with the assessor's budget?
We still have not complied with the state recommendations of the 1972 report that the selectmen at that time asked the State Department of Revenue to come in and do a complete report department by department. And we're negligent on that in this respect. In the assessors, it was, the report states, and I will put it on the Webster Forum if I need to, that the town should have one chief assessor doing all the evaluations, etc., and not looking to outside sources such as we have here, which costs us $62,000 a year. In addition to that, chief assessor, deputy assessor, whatever you want to call them, add the appropriate MMA designations or CMR designations in a certain period of time. And that has not been complied with since 1972, and it doesn't look like we're doing it now.
Mr. Parisi, do you
The next
have
thing
an
is-
amendment? Do you have an amendment to the line item you wish to make?
Well, if I do, then I'm cutting I guess we can't cut the assessing services because it's a proprietary item. The other comment I want to make is, you can go on the website to any town, including the town of Dudley, which has, less money than Webster, if you will, Oxford, Southbridge, Sturbridge, Douglas, etc. And you can go on there and pick out any plot of land that you want, get the evaluation, etc., get the
Point of
tax.
order, Mr. Moderator. Is there a question on the budget?
Yes.
Or is this a critique of
Mr. Lawler,
Yeah, Mr. Bigmouth, just relax, will you? Yeah, maybe we have, but the moderator, maybe the fire alarm will go off and we can dismiss. The moderator.
Well, as I've been informed by town council, I am the moderator, and I would not like to have any questions or comments made unless they're to me. Regardless from Mr. Berezic to the crowd, or from the crowd to Mr. Berezic. And the speaker should be respected, and no one should be shouting out.
No, absolutely not. I agree with that. I just want to say, could I ask a question of the chief assessor?
Ms. Berezic, any question has to come through me.
May I ask the moderator? May I
Please,
ask a question? Does the town have a plan of action in the near future to post online all evaluations of every piece of property in town, which every other city in town has, except the town of Webster?
Mr. Berezik, Mr. Becker, do you want to answer the question? I want to rule it out of order, but if you want to
You
answer it, I
can rule me out of order, but I would
Well,
not.
not you, Mr. Berezik's question, because it doesn't have to do with the budget.
If I may.
Go ahead, Mr. Becker, if you wish
The
to answer.
assessor's office has asked to have field cards be put online and budgeted for that for the last 7 or 8 years. We do have a version of GIS which has assessment values on it, but we do not have the actual field cards. I agree with you, Mr. Berezik. I've been asking for probably 7 or 8 years, and I've been told, wait your turn. I've been told possibly in the upcoming fiscal season that the next technology increase will be the field cards online. It's a small dollar amount, but it may happen. As for your direct point about an assessor getting a designation, I do have my MAAO designation, Mr. Berezik, number 1166. Many times we've had an opportunity to chat about things. You didn't even know I had it, do you? No. Mine is active. I know, shake shoulders. Anyways, I'd like to see things move on a little bit. My budget is actually down because I've been asked to shave a few dollars off here and there. We've been able to save money on copying and printing and mapping with our new GIS program. If anybody has spent any time online, you can rule me out in order about 30 more seconds, please, Mr. Moderator. If anybody's had a chance to look online, what our Director of Informational Services has done with the direction of Pam, having him do stuff, I am pleased to say we've come a long way, baby. Thank you.
If there's no motion on the floor, we're going to move on to the next vote. The total town treasurer, $163,621. There was a hold placed on this item.
Mr. Moderator.
Do you have an amendment, Mr. Van Weel?
Yes.
Can you please give us the amendment first?
Okay, I'd like to amend the town treasurer's budget. The treasurer's salary, I would like to reduce it from $55,212 to $10,480. I would like to increase the budget for professional services from $0 to $10,000.
Yeah, excuse me, sir, can you go slower? Well,
Okay.
you want to change line 500 and
001.
Yep.
Treasurer's salary should be $10,480.
Second.
And increase line 530000 professional services from $0 to $10,000. That's my motion.
There's a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to speak on this. Do I get the floor first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First, I want to respond to Mr. Becker's comments about me.
No, sir, it has to be regarding the amendment.
Okay. I don't think it's fair that someone can attack me and I don't get to respond to them.
This is about the budget. It's not about personalities, sir.
Okay. This job has been being done on a part-time basis, and some of the work has been subbed out for professional services. There's been proposals in the past to combine the treasurer's office and the collector's office. And it's time for the town to move forward. We shouldn't be funding this at a $55,000 pay rate. It's a position that really shouldn't exist.
Mr.
And
Moderator.
that's why I propose
Mr.
reducing
Shulman,
it.
unless you want to yield the floor to the...
I'll be the last.
Okay. Please identify yourself.
Sure. Gordon Wentworth, I live on Bush Grove Drive. It's because of this ridiculous banter back and forth that these meetings are so ill-attended. We have professional people who do a damn good job in town, who take care of the town, and who are good employees. They should be entrusted to write the budget, and that's it. Thank you.
year at town meeting, we voted to reduce this line item down to the $10,480. And the argument was these are elected positions. We don't necessarily have people come into them with qualifications. I understand that the current treasurer has 3 days of training. However, the salary level, I don't believe is warranted to the increase to $55,212. And the goal, I think, and objective was to at some point have this position combined with another position to have them be appointed positions, but that's, you know, due to charter review and everything else.
Mr. Moderator, we asked this question at the Finance Committee meeting, the 4-hour meeting we had, and we were told that the entire financial sector of the town of Webster operated perfectly for the past year, with no glitches, with the $10,000 salary. They did say they had to go outside with approximately 8,100. Did I get that correct? It was approximately 8,100 of the 10,000. So of the 10,000, 8,000 was spent on an outside service. There's nobody in that position now, so no one's going to lose their job. The present person coming into that position, elected to that position, has a fairly decent job with plenty of overtime and makes much more than that salary. So I don't understand what the argument is. If we operated the town perfectly without a $52,000 person and we did it with only $8,000, why are we going back up to $52,000? The answer we received this Thursday night was the present elected official has good ideas. I don't think anybody's ideas are worth $42,000 more. Thank you.
Mr. Manfield?
I think he was up.
Mr. Berthew?
George Berthew, 32 Union Point Road. I have a question about the speaker rules. We've heard 3 people against this, and I'd like to hear Mr. Chauvin and some other speakers that are for this increase, please. It's supposed to be an equal number of speakers for and against. So far, we've heard a lot against, none for the raise.
Mr. Chauvin?
First of all, I'd like to say this handout is not accurate. Okay?
I'm sorry for that. I realize it was not accurate.
I do not collect 2 salaries.
I understand that now. I didn't know that before. Thank you. I meant to point that out.
There is nothing that has been contracted out or subcontracted. The money that was paid was for an advisor, because yes, I don't have the experience. So what does a person do in my position? I have money available. I hire an advisor and a consultant to come in. Okay? The money that you see on the bills was actually work that was done in-house. Nothing was done in Worcester or anywhere else. He did not take anything home with him. Okay? Right now, I'm in there 3 to 5 hours a week. Nobody from the Finance Committee came and spoke to me. You did not come and speak to me. I don't know you. So I doubt you know what's good for my department. All right? What I'm proposing here and stuff is to go in there, because right now, there's $2.5 million out there in tax title. All right? I want to go get that. That's your money. That's why I want to do this. And Mr. Finneman was correct. My average salary over the last 3 years was $65,000. I'm doing this for the town. I want to go in there. I want this appointment. I'm going to work over the next 3 years. I already have an appointment. I'm on the agenda Wednesday night for the Charter Review Committee. That's what I want to do. I want to go in there. I want to get your money so that money can be added to free cash over the next 3 years. All right? This is not for me. This is for all of you.
Steve Raymond, Lakeside. In the previous election, I was actually running against Mr. Chauvin, and he won fair and square. And I chose not to run this election because I felt that I wouldn't be able to beat him. So, going forward, I believe, and I don't know who this would be directed to through the chair, but isn't the salary for the town treasurer dictated by town charter? Or some other...
No, Steve.
For some reason, I thought I had read something about the salary was set somehow.
No, it's set by the town meeting. It's set by the town.
I mean, me personally, I'm for it.
And I would just like to make one point. Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 1B, discusses that when an elected, I'll use treasurer, or any official, is to be made appointed by a town meeting vote and an election, the sitting official gets to remain in there till the end of his term. Okay? So I just want to make that clear, that that's what I'm going to discuss with the Charter Review Committee.
Mr. Moderator, can I?
Well, no, Mr. Raymond was the last speaker on this issue. I'd like to move to a vote.
I didn't get to respond to some of the.
Mr. Mandel, I'm going to take a vote now.
Okay, can I ask you a point of order? Point of order.
What's your point?
I believe that the town employees have been very vocal and they're intimidating the rest of the audience. And I want to know the procedure for a secret ballot.
Make the motion.
There you go.
Make the motion.
There you go.
Mr. Take a seat.
I second that motion.
There's a motion made and seconded for a second ballot, secret ballot. All those in favor of a secret ballot, please raise your cards. Counters, please count. All those opposed to a secret ballot, please raise your cards. Counters, please count. The motion for a secret ballot fails 59 to 24. All those in favor of the amendment, please raise their cards. Counters, please count. All those opposed to the amendment, please raise your cards. The amendment fails 58 to 19. There's been a quorum call. Everyone please raise your cards so the counters will count. Oh, the number of people here is 77. Which is the quorum of 61. Then please count. Just put up your cards. Still 85.
Sure, Mr. Moderator?
There's a hold in place on the town collector. Is there any discussion on the person who placed the hold?
Hold fast, budget. I'm having a problem seeing Mr. Moderator. Give me 2 seconds, please. Look. On the clerk's side, we lost the clerk at the town collector's office.
No, sir. We had 2 senior clerks in that department, and the collector has requested that one of her clerks be appointed as assistant for several years. So this is not adding any staff. This is taking one of the senior clerks and making them an assistant, similar to the other financial departments. Please note that the bottom line of the budget has actually decreased. The collector made other concessions within her budget in order to accommodate that increase.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we're going to move on to town council. There's a whole place on town council.
Mr. Moderator, the last town administrator had said he was going out to individual attorneys to bring that salary down and achieve some of that. The New England town administrator is only using one law firm?
Not correct.
That's what I'm asking. It's not correct.
That is not correct. I have special counsel.
How many town councils are we using?
Normally, on an ordinary basis, 2.
Please direct your questions towards me, not
I'm
directed to
sorry,
you.
Mr. Moderator. Were you asking the interim town administrator how many?
On a regular basis, 2 law firms. Copeland and Page is town council, and then we have special counsel.
Any further discussion regarding or comment regarding town council?
Normally, like anything else, if we hire a firm, whether it's an auditing firm, town council, or some other specialty, after so many years, with the new selectmen coming in, the town administrators coming in, et cetera, they may want to make a switch in that respect. Do we know that in fact we can go out and ask for bids and see if we can reduce this amount of money? And the accounting firm that, the town council firm that we've had, I believe we've had it for 15, 20 years or so. And there's a lot of others out there. And not that they're not doing the job, but sometimes they do just get complacent. And other towns you read where they've changed after a certain period of time. Are we looking to that avenue that maybe we can get it cheaper, because there are attorneys out there advertising for everything from.
Point of order, Mr. Moderator. There's no motion on the floor, as far as I can tell.
Have you finished your thought, Mr.
Moderator, you asked, was there a comment?
Correct.
Commenting.
There was a whole place on the line item, but with no motion, we will move on to the next
All right,
line.
Mr. Moderator, I'll make a motion to reduce it to $50,000 if there's no contractual agreement between the town and the law firm presently being used.
Motion made, is there a second? There's a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Moderator, this line item was significantly reduced by the former town administrator. It has been level funded for a few years now, and there have been excess funds available in this line item for the last number of years to facilitate some end-of-year transfers, and that will be the case this year also.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of reducing the town council line item to 50,000, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. The motion is by majority defeated. Onto the personnel board, there was a hold placed on the personnel board budget.
Mr. Moderator, may I be so inclined to make a request and make a motion to limit discussions to the person who has made the hold and the response by the town accountant, interim town administrator, in an effort to speed this evening along?
Is there a second? Second. Motion made and seconded.
Discussion, Mr. Moderator?
Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Moderator. If you're cutting off, if only the person that made the hold can speak, then how can anyone else make a motion? I didn't make a hold because Mr. Finnemore took care of it. It doesn't seem right. I think that it would speed along if the person who made the hold gave a motion first.
Yeah, sir, that is an argument against. Any further discussion?
Yes, Tim Bell, 28 Union Point Road. I believe you've already set the rules for being able to speak. And if I'm not
A
mistaken...
two-thirds majority can vary those rules, which is what's on the floor right now.
Well, that's why I'm asking to clarify, because I thought it was voted at a previous meeting, correct?
It was.
Okay. So does that mean those rules would be adopted for this meeting, or do the rules that were in effect before apply throughout the end of this meeting? Because it seems quite unfair to change rules halfway through a game.
The town, I'm going to make a ruling that the town meeting itself, if the vote passes, can vary the rules by a two-thirds vote.
Can you explain how this would work then? Not clear.
The person who made the hold would have their comment. There would be a response from Ms. Ledoux. If there are any motions from the floor, there would be motions from the floor, but there would not be any further discussion.
Isn't that censorship?
No, it's a motion of town meeting to vary the rules.
Well, Mr. Moderator, there's 85 people here, there's 85 different opinions. You know, if someone wants to get up and say, I don't want to spend $5,000 for medical expenses, or how many medical personnel, or how many people are going to be examined for that $5,000, they should have a right to ask that question.
That's an argument against the...
My argument is that people should be allowed to debate. That's what we're here for.
And that's an argument against the motion, Mr. Finnemore. Mr. Berthew?
George Berthew, Union Point. Can I call for the question, Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
Can I call for a vote? Move the question.
A vote on the motion to vary the rules.
Yes.
All those in favor, please raise your cards. It's a two-thirds vote. Counters, please count.
What are we voting on?
It's the motion to vary the rules. There will be, the person who made the hold will make the, and there will be one rebuttal from the town clerk. And anyone who wishes to file a motion, and then all those opposed to the motion, please raise your cards. motion did not pass. On to the Personnel Board. Person who placed the hold and discussion on the Personnel Board.
This is a, one of the...
4944.
Excuse me?
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, we have to recount on the motion. All those,
Mr. Moderator, people have just left. We don't know which way they voted.
so we count again. All those in favor of limiting discussion, please raise your cards. All those opposed to limiting discussion? The motion carries 50 to 22.
Mr. Moderator, with all due respect, good night.
Very correct. Is there any discussion regarding the personnel board? There's a whole place on the $5,000.
Motion to remove the whole.
Motion made and seconded to remove the hold. All those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed? The motion carries. There's a hold placed on the data processing. Motion made and seconded to remove the hold. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor of removing the hold, please raise your cards. All those opposed? And the motion carries. There's a hold on the elections and registration. Motion to remove the hold is made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Point of order, Mr. Moderator, this is not the procedure that we agreed to up front.
I had said that anyone can make a motion.
But they're making a motion to remove the hold. It's not a motion pertinent to the budget. The article, the motion should be to make an amendment to the article.
Well, if there's an amendment to be made, someone can make it. And if you're opposed to the motion, you can speak regarding it in opposition to it.
I'm not ready. I'm going to get
There's a motion made and seconded to remove the hold on the elections and registration. All those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed? It's a majority vote, and the hold is removed. The code enforcement, there's a hold on that. There's a motion made and seconded to remove the hold on code enforcement. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of removing the hold, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. The motion carries. There's a hold on the community development. There's a motion made and seconded to remove the hold on community development. Is there any discussion? Oh, no, I'm just trying to vote. All those in favor of removing the hold, please raise your cards. All those opposed? It's a majority vote.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we remove all the holds other than the senior center.
There's a motion made and seconded to remove all the holds except the senior center. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed? The motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion regarding the senior center budget. I'd like to amend
Can you hold on a second? What line item are you at?
We're at 541.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. I believe the town clerk has this information. The senior center director salary, change it from $40,194 to $25,025.
This is the senior center director salary?
Yes.
You want to reduce it from $40,194 to $25,000?
And $25, yes.
And $25. There's a motion made and seconded?
I have additional.
Oh, okay.
Or should I do them all as separate motions?
No, do them all together.
Okay. The program director salary, it's budgeted at $18,200. I'd like to make that zero. The custodial salary, currently budgeted at $22,268. I'd like to budget that at $12,262. And I believe that is all my changes.
So there's a motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion regarding the reduction of the salary for the senior center?
Yes. Mr. Moderator, first of all, I'd like to say none of these changes that I'm proposing are meant to be an insult to Ms. Ledoux at all. I have great respect for her. She is a great town employee. I have respect for all the town employees. It's very hard to stand up here and propose salary changes. It's not the way this should have to happen. But we haven't been given the information that we need to make decisions, and there hasn't been sufficient discussion. So that's why we have to do this way. Also, I'm not doing this just to save money. I was hoping that if we could have passed enough of these reductions, because I believe there is money in this budget, that we could have funded overnight fire coverage, or added money to the police department, or we could have fully funded the $150,000 for the school department's technology spending. All of that was possible in this budget. but decisions were made not to do that. So right now we have a senior center director who, according to this budget, will be the third highest hourly paid person in town, almost as much as the police chief, more than the town accountant on an hourly basis. $43 an hour for a senior center director. In addition, they're adding staff. There's a program director. I would think that at $43 an hour, if you can earn that much, you should be able to do the programming too. Now, I understand there's issues about hours that we're obligated to open the senior center for longer hours, and that's why the custodial salary went up. But it would be easy for the daytime staff, the clerk and the senior director, to open the building in the morning and have the custodian come in at night if it's required. We're able to keep the senior center is not very big. I don't think that we need, I know, but it's not going to take $22,000 in salary to custodial care to keep it clean. Perhaps we're supposed to have a program for seniors to work off work.
Excuse me.
To say,
Excuse
I
me.
have no law.
Ma'am, please let the speaker finish.
We have a program that's been approved by the town meeting, that seniors can work in exchange for reducing their property taxes. The seniors are already there, perhaps they could do a little bit of the custodial work at that time. But if you look at the total increase in the budget, and remember, these are choices that we're making. We're choosing to drastically increase the senior center budget instead of having overnight fire coverage, instead of buying the technology for the school department, instead of adding to the police department. These are choices that were made. We are the legislative. Somebody said, why are we nickel and diming and making these choices? Why are we bringing this up? We are the legislative body of the town. We vote the budget. They can propose it, but it's up to us to debate it and discuss what our priorities are. And so we're saying the senior center is a priority over overnight fire coverage. That just doesn't seem to be a good choice to me.
My name is Lieutenant Michael Shaw. I'm the acting department head right now. The chief's out on medical leave. And I appreciate your support of wanting to throw money our way. My first time foraying into the budget process, myself and the chief sat down with the acting town administrator early on. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things. We wanted to fund as much as we could for the police department. We wanted to replace Deputy Chief Boudreaux that retired in December. We were able to do that because, like Ms. Ledoux said, we did this as a team. Everybody sitting here worked as a team. We came up with a budget that we can work with, and we will work with. We tried the 2.5 override to fund 2 additional police officers. It didn't work. The town spoke, as Mr. Parisic so eloquently put on social media today. And we can live with that. We're fine with that. What I don't want as a department head, and I think I speak for everybody, I don't want to supplement my budget with extra money taken from these people and these programs here. That's not how we want to do it. I'm not going to sacrifice whether it's a senior center, code enforcement, fire, anybody. That's not how we want to increase our budget. We came up with a budget through the acting town administrator, who's done a phenomenal job, by the way. The first time in, I think, at least 12 years, we've actually had a contract going into the next fiscal year. We won't have to have retroactive pay. Phenomenal job. It's been a pleasure to work with her. She knows what she's doing. Let her do her job.
I just wanted to echo that sentiment. Again, we appreciate your support. However, the way to do it is not to take it out of the pockets of another department head or department. These people, you know, seniors are prized and are proud of the town, and we support the seniors just as much as they support us. So I stand here to support our senior center and our staff down there. Let's move this budget forward. We've been playing with this all night long. As you can tell, it's just been a mockery from the very beginning. The town administrator, along with the staff here, selectmen, have done their job. I hate to say it, but the finance committee did not. So we sit here at 10 o'clock at night suffering because somebody sat there and said, hold on every single item in this budget. There's no need for this to happen year after year after year. It's about time this town got the professional look that it deserves, not make a mockery of it. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mandiel. Now I'm going to correct a few of your mistakes. We will be open 40 hours a week. We anticipated. We do open the center now as it is, myself or the staff. We serve approximately 500 people a month in 3 days. I anticipate probably more than that. I can do a lot, but I don't think I can do that on my own. And at this point in time, I don't think the seniors should pick up a mop and a pail and start cleaning. They've paid their dues. Let us move on. I understand you in your life. You came in on a day there was no one there but myself. I gave you a tour. You have no idea what we do in that building. None whatsoever. I know what I need, and I'll echo our treasurer. I know what I need, I know what they want, and I will continue to offer it to them with or without your assistance. Thank you.
I'm not questioning all that happens in the senior center, in any of the town departments. I'm just saying, these are choices that were made, and I do have a problem with the senior center director being the third highest paid hourly person in town.
I'm really not.
It says $43 an hour.
Where did you get that? I would love it to be true.
According to the handout that we got today, it's attached to the budget.
However, the senior center director is a salaried employee, so you need to look at her salary. She is paid $40,194 a year. I apologize, that hourly rate is obviously wrong, but if she is not paid hourly, she is paid a salary.
I was going by the information and it says $43.
And I apologize.
Because everyone else's salary pay is converted to an hourly rate.
For this purpose, for presentation purposes only, this line actually is incorrect.
Okay.
Mr. Becker, I'd like to take a vote.
Just a quick point. In fiscal 16, if I'm not mistaken, our senior center was open how many months? 5?
It's been over 12. We just came back. We were cut. What was it, 2010 or more than that? We were cut for 5 days.
But our new senior center.
August. Oh, in October we moved. October.
Okay, so it was not a full fiscal year
Yeah.
in our new building, so the numbers have gone up.
Considerably.
That was
I'm sorry.
16 to 17 numbers.
I would like to take a vote now. All those in favor of removing the whole, well, no, there was a motion. There's a motion to reduce the salary to $25,025 and reduce the, let's see here, the custodial salary to $12,262.
And to reduce the program director salary from $18,200 to 0.
Can I retract my motion, seeing as we're kind of outnumbered with town employees at the same time? I'll retract my motion.
Is there a second? Second. Did the second that made the second agree?
Yeah.
Then the motion is retracted. With no further holds on the budget. Is there a vote to remove this whole motion? There's a motion made to adopt the budget as presented. There's a second. All those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed? It's a majority, the budget passes.
We still have work to do, please don't leave. We still have work to do, please don't leave.
Good evening again. All right, Article 3, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from any available funds a sum sufficient to operate the sewer enterprise fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30th, 2017, or take any action thereon. If people can stay, that would be wonderful, unless someone contests that we'll keep moving forward.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $4,032,310, an amount sufficient to operate the sewer enterprise fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2016 and ending June 30, 2017. Said sum to be raised as follows. User charges and other department receipts, $4,032,310.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, please raise your cards. These are a simple majority vote. All those opposed, please raise your card. It's a unanimous vote. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from any available funds a sum sufficient to operate the water enterprise fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30th, 2017, or take any action thereon.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,225,736, an amount sufficient to operate the water enterprise fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2016 and ending June 30, 2017. Said sum to be raised as follows. User charges and other department receipts, $2,225,736.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. It is a unanimous vote. Article 5. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from any available funds a sum sufficient to operate the South Worcester County Communication Center for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30th, 2017, or take any action thereon.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to pass over Article 5.
I have a motion to pass over. I have a second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion to pass over the article? Is it for more information? Just pass over, ma'am.
Pass over, sir.
Just pass over. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of passing over the article, please raise your cards. Okay, all those opposed, please raise your cards. It is a unanimous vote. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to authorize the treasurer with the consent of the Board of Selectmen to temporarily borrow a note or notes or make an inter-fund advance from available funds in anticipation of revenue from taxation bonds or grants and to repay said sum within the current fiscal cycle or take any action thereon.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to approve the article as read.
I have a motion and a second to approve the article as read. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, please raise your card. All those opposed, please raise your card. It is unanimous vote. Mr. DuPont, if you come up and do Article 7, please.
Article 7, to see if the town will vote to create and continue revolving funds for certain town departments pursuant to the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2016. Animal control. A motion made and seconded to dispose of the reading of the article. All those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed? One opposed, two opposed. That the motion carries.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town vote to create and continue revolving funds as presented in the May 9th, 2016 annual town meeting warrant pursuant to the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2016 and ending June 30, 2017.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of the article, please raise your cards. All those opposed? It's a unanimous vote.
Article 8, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation, transfer from any available funds, or issue notes or bonds, including borrowing from Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, a sum sufficient for the purpose of financing the construction of a water treatment plant and all associated work and appurtenances related thereto, including without limitation, all costs thereof as defined in Section 1, Chapter 29C of the General. A motion to dispense with the reading of the article on the second. Any discussion? All those in favor of not reading the entire article, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. It is a unanimous vote.
Oh, Mr. Moderator, I would like to request that, I can't make a motion, so I would like to request that town meeting authorize our engineers, Ty and Bond, to speak and to do a presentation.
Can I have one of the selectmen make the motion? We need a motion in order to do it. Okay, you did that. All right. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to allow the presentation.
How long is the presentation? 6 minutes. 10 minutes? 5.
Can we have 4? Yes. If you want, okay. So
I think it's very important for this presentation. This is $10 million we're asking you to approve for this water treatment facility. I know we've been talking about this forever, but I think it's extremely important for you to allow our engineers to just do the short presentation for you.
a motion and a second to allow them to do their presentation. Any discussion? Further discussion? All right, hearing no further discussion. All those in favor of allowing the presentation, please raise your cards. All those opposed to allowing the presentation, please raise your cards. One against. The motion passes. Simple majority. I'm going to put a motion on the floor to take it out of order. We're going to move on to 9 while he sets up, and as soon as he's done, we're going to go right back to him. So I have a motion to take it out of order and move to number 9. I have a second. Any discussion? Okay, hearing no discussion. All those in favor to take it out of order and move to 9, raise your cards. All those opposed? I have a question of the quorum. Okay. All those who are registered voters here, please raise your cards. Mr. Miller, would you mind counting that side of the room so that the scoutmaster can count this side and not have to count the entire room?
Men drew break. Here comes the guy back from the bathroom.
All right. Lieutenant Shaw, can you go out in the hallways for me, please, see if we have 56 people, we have 5 short of a quorum. Can you please go and see if we can roust up 5 people in this building that are town residents? We're going to do the presentation while we do this. So that the town council says that's allowable while we wait for quorum, so we're going to make the presentation.
All right, thank you, everybody. Again, for those of you who haven't seen me before, my name is Mike Schrader. I'm a project manager with Ty & Bond. And just quick, so I don't bore people, how many people have seen our presentations on the water system before? I feel like you're pretty, okay, good, thank you, because I did do a recap for those who haven't seen it, so that you'll, we're here tonight to talk about the water treatment plant. Just to do a recap for those of you who haven't been here before, you know that Webster's been having issues with the water system, with the quality of the water, and the problem is that, or the nature of the problem is Webster gets all of its water from groundwater, from wells, and the water in Webster, like most water in New England, has high levels of iron and manganese in there. Those are the things that turn black or red and that stain your laundry and that have been causing the water quality issues. 2 most common elements in the Earth's crust are classified as secondary water quality parameters. And they come out of solution when they hit the chemicals that they use to treat the water with, and that's what makes it turn black, that's what makes it turn red, that's what makes it look like this. So we've been working with the town for a number of years now on solutions. And currently, the challenge is that most of the town's water supplies are not usable without treatment. So you have 3 water supplies in town. We're going to talk about those briefly: Station 1, Station 2, and Station 3. And seeing this, that should be enough. So you have enough water that comes out of the ground. But the problem is the quality of that water. So Station 1 is partially offline. That's the oldest station in town. Station 2 is completely offline. It has been for quite a while because of elevated iron and manganese levels. It can't be used. And Station 3 is currently in service and provides almost all the water for the town on a regular basis. And right now, that is your primary water supply. And as we talked before, if you remember from last year's town meeting where we authorized the design, the funding for the design, you basically, the entire town is relying on this pump. So there's 1 pump, 1 motor, 1 pipe, 1 well. And while it's working great, the town does a great job of keeping it in shape, there's no redundancy. If something was to happen there, whether mechanically or to the water quality, there really would be, there is no plan B right now in Webster. So the problem is twofold. We talked about this before, a 2-pronged approach. This stuff is built up in your pipes over years and years and years, and now it's coming out, and that's been the problem. So we gotta clean it off the pipes. We're gonna talk a little bit about how we've been doing that and the successes we've had there. But then to prevent it from happening again, we've got to clean the water going in. It's like if you vacuum your whole house and you leave the windows open and it's dusty, just more dirt's gonna come in. So we need to clean the source water. And filtration is really the only way to do that. So it's just a picture of what filters look like. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to go fast with respect to the time. So I also wanted to give you an update because last year we were here in front of you when we talked about this project. Like I said, town meeting authorized the funding for the design, so now I'm coming here also to report back what we've been up to, what we've been doing, and the progress that's been made, and it's all good news. So, like I said, last fall you authorized the funding for the design, and now to keep the project on track, we're back in front of you to talk about getting funding for the construction. And also, we plan to take advantage, and this is a rehash for those who've seen it before, we're going to use the state's state revolving loan program to get low interest funding for the project. That's been the plan all along. And also for those we'll talk about at the end, we talked about last time with the schedule, we've greatly accelerated the schedule to get this delivered faster, this project. So the work that we've been completed since we've been back here, we did the pilot study. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. We've completed the preliminary design and we've completed site selection. And we also did just a two-prong so you guys know that we're not just focusing on this solution that's going to deliver results down the road. We're also, the town is working very hard to deliver results right now. And they did that ice picking program. I don't remember if anybody remember talking about that last time. But basically it's a new technique for flushing water mains, and it was very, very effective. We did it around the Lake Street area, the worst area of town, based on our modeling results. And this just shows you a quick example of what happens as they pass. If anyone's ever had a coffee culotta, that's what this stuff looks like. They fill the water main up with it, they push it through, and it pulls all those particles right off of there. So we were really pleased. We cleaned 13,500 feet of pipe, and we removed 1,500 pounds of sediment out of there, which is the stuff that's really hard to flush because for a number of reasons. So this is a much more aggressive way to do that. And the water department's working on their next round right now. So we're very, very happy with that. That was very, very cost effective and brought a lot of relief to the people in those areas. So I was talking about the pilot study, and based on what I've seen here tonight, you guys are gonna like to hear about this because what the pilot study is it's really like a small scale result. I mean, a small scale test of the process that we're going to use to treat your water. And the state makes you do this, but really what it is water chemistry is complicated. Each source can be a little bit different. So what we actually do is we bring in small scale filters. You can see here on the photo there. And we use different types of media, the stuff that can go in those filters to remove the iron and the manganese. And they want to test it with the same water that they're going to treat, with the actual chemicals that we're going to use to treat it, and with the actual media to test the proof of concept, to make sure that this is, it may work somewhere else, but it's going to work right here in Webster, on Webster's water. And then those design results, or the pilot results rather, become the design criteria for the plant, and we basically can scale up from there. So, and like I said, that is required. So just to bring that home, the part of that is that basically what we did is treating water taken directly from Station 1 to Station 2. We brought this stuff out there in a trailer, connected it right up to the wells, using commercially available media, so the stuff that you would actually buy to fill these filters with once we build them. So it's, I just want to be clear, it's the actual stuff. This is not an experiment or a simulation. And we take the actual water, the actual chemicals, and the actual media, and we tested it. We got very, very good removals. We got iron was no detect, which means none was detected. And the manganese was no detect on one of the sources and very, very low on one of the other ones. So believe it or not, you know, to the guys that design these things and the guy that piloted it, he says, oh, this water's not that bad. I'm like, well, don't tell the people that live here because they think it's pretty bad. But as far as the treatability goes, it's very, very good. And now we have the scientific or the applied science to say that this will work here. And like I said before, the technology that we're using is called green sand. It's a very old, it's not very old, it's been around since the 50s. It's a very well-proven technology. It's cost-effective. It's nothing exotic. It's the right answer for Webster. So preliminary design, what we do during that stage and what we've done, and I'm standing in my own way, is we've used that the pilot results to do the filter sizing so we can scale up. And we know not only how big they need to be, but how long they can go before they need to be backwashed, how long they can go for each run. We've done the equipment layout, the building layout, chemical feed system sizing. And also, I just want to let you know that that piloting thing, even though it sounds pretty easy, it takes a lot to do that. We have to submit a detailed proposal to the state. They review very carefully, ask a lot of questions. We do it. There's a lot of lab data. So that's a significant chunk of the beginning of the project. Now, as far as the site selection goes, we looked at 3 sites. We did an evaluation on the property that the town owns. So this is all town-owned land, no acquisition. And we decided that the best spot was to put it right near where Station 2 is. This was right adjacent to the athletic track there. And the reason is, well, just to show you here what it would look like. That Station 2 is the small building that you drive by when you see the well, just so you know, is a little building you never see. It's way in the back. It would look like a shed or something if you were to drive by it. And then there's a generator over there, there's some trees, and right over here, basically, is the exercise facility, the running track. And that's where we're proposing to put the new plant, and I've got some good news and some exciting news as to why. So when we looked at that, first of all, it's town-owned property, and it's very harmonious with the existing use. So rather than spreading facilities out, we've got the water department's going to have a little campus there. They're going to have all their water treatment stuff together in one place. It allows for repurposing of existing facilities. You know, we get excited about this stuff. We looked very hard to try to reuse some parts of that station that's there, the existing Venturi station, the aeration station. I hope they're not here for me. And yeah, okay, all right. So long story short, this is the existing station that's there. You go by there when you go to the beach. This part of the concrete here is actually covering a large underground tank that you don't see. And our treatment plant requires a large underground tank that you wouldn't see either. But by looking at the design of this in the old plans, we were able to, or we're going to be able to repurpose that. So for the people that were, you know, it's just a great opportunity to reuse some existing infrastructure that's going to be decommissioned. So that saves on the cost, it saves on the size of the building. As far as the building itself goes, very utilitarian sort of structure. It's got this uneven roof because some of the equipment is very tall. So we want to minimize the volume of the building, so you put the tall building where the equipment is, and you slope it down where it's not. And to show you what that's going to look like on the site, if you were driving up to the ticket booth there, to the guard shack, that's what the site looks like now. With the new plant, it would look like that. And it's, you know, we'll do landscaping around it and stuff, so it won't be an eyesore. Regarding the schedule, so last time we were here, we talked about the schedule coming online at the end of 2019. Ms. Ledoux, who we've heard a lot about tonight, she really cracked the whip to really try to reduce that schedule. We worked with the funding agencies, we talked to them, and we're able to reduce it by almost a year. And by you know, staggering some tasks and doing things at the same time. And the state was actually very cooperative in support of this project to help us get the funding done sooner. So, in summary, the plant will serve both Station 1 and Station 2, so now you'll have a fully redundant supply. And you have number 3 as its full backup. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is the existing generator that's there. We were really happy to see that the electrical service for that existing station is very large, and it most likely will serve the needs of the state of the new plant the way it is. And also that generator can most likely be repurposed. So that's nice. Every time you have a chance not to have to buy something, we're more than happy to do that. So it's going to more than double the redundancy of water supply. And just to make clear too, we're not going to be adding more water. We're not building this to build capacity. We're building it to build redundancy and improve quality. The new plant will feature built-in mechanical redundancy. It will get rid of the iron and manganese, proven technology. and there's my favorite pub in town, so. Thank you. And the cops left.
Okay, now we're back to doing a quorum count, please. Everyone that is a town resident. Oh, sorry, hold on. Any questions for the gentleman that did the presentation? Yes.
What plant did you build at in the part of the state? A filtration plant, you build one yet?
Yes, sir, we built a number of greenstand.
Town.
Sorry, what was the question?
My question is, what plant did you build? Say describe the difference of the town.
Well, I can say I'm Tom Mahan. I'm with Ty and Bond. Also, I'm a principal at Ty and Bond, and I've personally been involved in design and construction of probably over a dozen of these similar-sized facilities, similar capacities or greater. Anywhere in Massachusetts? Okay, we could start. Let's say Grafton, Rainham, the two in Westford, Chelmsford. Oh, they've been operating for over 10 years.
Because we got on Webster, it's been a dark horse, they put it up.
The one in where?
The one we got in Webster now hasn't been working since they put it up.
Oh, yeah, we weren't involved in that, sir.
You weren't involved in that?
No, sir. And that's why we were really excited to reuse that, because we understand it's not being used. So we looked really hard to find a way, and I pushed the design team to see, can you repurpose that for the clear well?
Webster got sucked into that one there, and I don't want to spend that $10 million.
No, and you know what, sir? I wasn't going to move with the design until I knew that we could at least get some benefit out of that. Anyone else?
Mr. Moderator, I move. Okay. And I apologize, I have to read this.
No, hold on. I can't take your vote until I know if there's a quorum.
Oh,
So stand by. All those with a orange card, please raise it. And, you mind count that, sir? Okay. There are 67 people. There is a quorum. We will continue with the
I move that the town vote to raise by taxation, transfer from any available funds, or issue notes or bonds, including borrowing from the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, the sum of $10 million for the purpose of financing the construction of a water treatment plant and all associated work and appurtenances related thereto, including without limitation all costs thereof as defined in Section 1, Chapter 29C of the General Laws, as most recently amended by, what is that? Statute 2014, Chapter 259, that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the selectmen, is authorized to borrow said sum and issue bonds or notes therefore under Chapter 44 of the General Laws and or Chapter 29C of the General Laws as most recently amended by Statute 2014, Chapter 259, or any other enabling authority, that such bonds or notes shall be general obligations of the town unless the treasurer, with the approval of the selectmen, determines that they should be issued as limited obligations and may be secured by local system revenues as defined in Section 1 of Chapter 29C, as most recently amended by 2014, Chapter 259. That the treasurer, with the approval of the selectmen, is authorized to borrow all or a portion of such amounts from the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust established pursuant to Chapter 29C as most recently amended by 2014 Chapter 259, and in connection therewith to enter into a loan agreement and a security agreement with the trust, and otherwise to contract with the trust and the Department of Environmental Protection with respect to such loan, and for any federal or state aid available for the project or for the financing thereof. That the town administrator is authorized to enter into a project regulatory agreement with the Department of Environmental Protection to expend all funds available for the project and to take any other action necessary to carry out the project.
Now, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? No? You good? Okay, this is a 2/3 vote. All those in favor, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. It is unanimous vote. All right. 9, to see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, borrow, or transfer from any available sums to the treasury in amounts sufficient to fund the purchase of technology devices for Bartlett High School and Webster Middle School, or take any action thereon. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Moderator, Ted Atlas, Assistant to the Superintendent for Business. I'd like to make a motion that we approve a motion for $244,508 is appropriated for the purchase of technology devices. And to meet the appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the selectmen, is authorized to borrow $244,508 under General Laws, Chapter 44, Chapter 7, parentheses 28, and that the selectmen are authorized to take any other action necessary to carry out this project.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
But for purposes of discussion, I'll keep it short, Mr. Moderator. We're looking to purchase approximately 1,200 devices for our students. This would be for grades 5 through 12. Every student would have a device similar to a Chromebook that would be available to them. In the middle school, probably kept in the school, while our junior and high school students would be able to take them home to use in their studies. I think we all understand that the use of technology for communication and information is an integral component of college and career readiness in order for students to understand how to navigate the modern economy, and it requires that they learn that with technology. We also would obviously be using this with the new testing that is going to be taking place, mandatory in our state within a couple of years, and it will give our students the opportunity to become very familiar with the technology that they will be using in doing that testing. So we believe this is a real win-win situation for our students, and that we now have the infrastructure in place that can support it through previous years' articles that were approved at town meeting as well. This is the last step, getting devices into the hands of our students, the most important step of this three-step process. So we look for your support here tonight. Thank you. And I'll answer any questions, or the superintendent is here as well.
Any further discussion on the article? Yes, sir.
I understand, I'm an IT person and I'm all for technology. If we borrow this $284,000, how is that going to affect our tax rate?
It won't have any effect at all.
None whatsoever.
It'll be in the operating budget, and it'll be paid for over a length of time determined by the treasurer out of the operating budget every year. So it will become an operating budget item under borrow.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing no further discussion, this is a 2/3 required vote, so I'm going to do it the reverse. All those against approving the article, please raise your cards. Okay, all those in favor, please raise your cards. It's unanimous vote. Thank you. We've already done, my bad. We already did 10 10, we're on 11. An act authorizing the town of Webster to grant additional licenses for the sale of alcoholic beverages to be drunk on the premises. Section 1, notwithstanding Section 17 of the Chapter 138 of the general laws, or any other general or special law to the contrary. I have a motion to dispense with the reading. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion?
Motion to approve the article
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of dispensing with the reading of the article, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. It's a unanimous vote.
Motion to approve the article as presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the article as read. Any discussion? No discussion? No discussion? Yep. Go right ahead, sir.
Since the article wasn't read, I don't know what the article is, so can someone please explain it?
Is the sponsor of this article here? Can you state your name and address, please?
Danielle Jakes, 95 Ranchmont Road, Hadley. The article entails we own a restaurant in town, Capellini's. We currently have a seasonal liquor license, so that means it runs January 15th. I'm sorry, April 1st to January 15th. So from the time that the liquor license is not in play, we can serve beer, wine, and cordials. It greatly affects the business. Excuse me? I have a really loud voice, though. You guys should be able to hear me. It definitely affects the business from the time that the license goes into sleep a little bit, so we're requesting that legislature will allow us to get a full liquor license year-round. It's to my understanding that this establishment has always done this. It never has had a liquor license attached to the building, so it's always had a seasonal, and it's been converted to a full annual license through this same process.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the article as printed in the warrant, please raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your cards. It is unanimous vote.
Thank you, everyone.
Article 12. See if the town will vote to require all approved minutes of all town boards, committees, commissions to be posted to the Town of Webster website, www.webster-ma.gov, as part of the public record in addition to any other present locations. I have a motion. Somebody have a motion? Motion to pass over final information.
I'll make the motion. Motion to approve the
Well,
I believe that the sponsor is not here because I believe maybe because of health reasons.
Okay. So there was no second on the motion to pass over. We now have a motion, which, I'm sorry, I was speaking with town council, if you can repeat it, I know it's the last article, I'm sorry.
To accept the motion as read.
To accept the motion as read. I have a second to accept it as read. Any discussion on accepting it as read?
Just by way of discussion, Mr. Mandiel, I apologize. Bylaw Review Committee, I believe, made a recommendation to amend this bylaw.
You're correct. So yes, I'm also chairman of the Bylaw Review Committee. So we met on this, and let's see. So we need to amend it to.
I believe it's to require that the minutes, once approved, are submitted for posting to the website within 3 days.
3 business days of approval by the board. So it's after the minutes are approved, then they will go to be posted on the town website. So I'd like to amend the motion to set that limit, that time limit of 3 business days upon approval.
So, can you put that in writing for me? I'm sorry. It's a late night. Put it in writing, but it's to it's in the guide. It's in the guide. All right, let me take a look.
I believe the town clerk has the bylaw committee's suggestions.
So I don't have a copy of it if somebody can provide it.
I'll read it again so everybody understands. The motion is to to add a bylaw that will read, all town committees, boards, and commissions shall submit meeting minutes for posting on the town's website within 3 business days of approval.
So the motion is to amend it to state all town committees, boards, and commissions shall submit meeting minutes for posting on the town's website within 3 business days of approval. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. That is the motion that is on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing no discussion on the amendment, all those in favor of the amendment, please raise your card. All those opposed, please raise your card. It's a unanimous vote for the amendment. Now we go back to the article as amended. We have a motion to accept it as amended. We have a motion and a second to accept it as amended. Any discussion on the article now? No? Okay. All those in favor to accept it as amended, raise your cards. All those opposed, please raise your card. It is unanimous vote. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye. Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone staying and everyone that came late.